And we're here. This is Vince.
We're here. I'm Vince.
This
Can
was.
we look at the camera?
We can. We can look at each other. Eventually, you'll forget the camera's there. We brought
Brought to you by Natty Ice and Virgil's handcrafted root beer
Marlboro Reds, propane heater,
and day old chips.
day and a half.
They're probably a few days.
Vince and I work together sometimes. Vince is also a great electrician. I watched him get electrocuted twice.
I've never been electrocuted. Actually, electrocution means death.
Really?
Yep. I got shocked.
Well, shock doesn't exactly mean electrocuted because you can get thermic shock. Well, I guess electrical
That's the
shock.
point. Yeah.
God, it tastes like fucking high school.
Yeah, I don't know why you did this to us.
I don't know why I did this.
It was like a
You
top
said
thing you
it.
made.
You're the one that
40
said
of, like, they make so many different brands of this bottle.
Well, is the only one they had at. This is our conversation. I was like, "Do you want beverages?" He goes, "Yeah, I could do some root beer." I was like, "Cream soda." He's like, "I don't like cream soda." Who doesn't like cream soda? He's like, or maybe like some alcohol, like a 40 or something. And I was like, "I'll get some craft beer." Craft beer. And here we are. I don't know. Natural ice isn't exactly. I don't know if I've even drank in natural ice before.
I definitely have.
My dad drinks.
I don't remember it being not this shitty.
Yeah, these are probably
Better than
really
I
old.
thought.
Well, they said as long as it's bottled, it doesn't go bad. Is it malt liquor?
No,
Ice brewed for a smoother taste.
it doesn't taste malty.
So that means this is technically a lager. Did you know that? Lagers are brewed in cold temperatures,
Didn't know that.
and ales are brewed in warm temperatures at the top of the cask. I could be wrong. Someone's gonna see this. And
Did you just make that up?
No, it's like, that's what I was taught. I worked at this place called Beer Garden. I thought, believe it or not, I know
With
a
my
whole bunch of
roommate.
shit about Beer Garden.
You were there with my
Oh, that's
roommate.
right.
Yeah.
I think I had him on. No, I haven't had him on yet.
You know what's funny? He and I were talking about starting a podcast probably like a year ago. We were seriously talking about, like, yeah, this is what we're going to talk about. This is going to be our schedule. Like,
It's better when you have two people, because like
consistently.
yeah. It's easier for me because I just get random people now. Unless you want your Cadillacs.
They last longer, so actually never.
It's easier when when you're doing it by yourself, but it's better when you have two people. Because I control what happens. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I control the schedule. When you have two people, it's like, fuck, you both have to
coordinate.
Especially it's the same two people.
That's like me at work. I would much rather carry heavy things by myself than have to coordinate footsteps with someone else around corners and people.
Yes,
I don't know why that's like always been me.
The joys of being young. I saw Ben grab that thing of ice last night, and he's all like, whatever he's doing with his body, and he just picked up the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, that's my back, dude. Like, I can't do that. Do what?
The Cambro or the bucket?
The fucking thing that the chips come in?
Cambro, yeah.
Oh,
The chip bin, yeah, I know what you're talking
I mean, I can do it. I just choose not to. I'm very big on figuring out.
about. Can I smoke in here? Did you?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
smoked it. Look around, buddy. Just don't ash the gas. Actually, it won't blow up. You can put a cigarette out in gas. It's the spark that fucks you.
You know, you can light det cord with a cigarette, though.
Really?
Fun fact. Someone taught me that.
What's det cord?
Detonation cord? Like the...
Oh, well, I guess so, because
You can-
it's
but you're not supposed. You
flashpoint.
can't light it with a lighter, though.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
that can't be true.
Mhm.
Alright, you're telling me.
C4. That's what the...
Is it because a cigarette burns harder than fire?
I think it's the amount of... Like, he taught me that if you put a cigarette like this and put a notch in the det cord, that the air will burn the cigarette to the det cord, and I guess maybe the pressure from the heat, how long it sits in there.
No
or
shit.
something. Might have been in wives' tale, but this is from someone who
Do
did a
you
lot of
have
time
any?
overseas.
Do you have any of this?
No, of course not.
I might have some cannon fuse around here. I know that will light with a cigarette.
That will light with any hot.
Yeah.
Probably.
I used to have like 30 feet of that shit, man. When I was a kid, my brother and I, this is when you could buy black powder at Walmart and they wouldn't ask for an ID. That's how old I am. We would get back black powder and we'd take the old CO2 tanks that go in like these BB guns and shit. And we'd fucking fill them full of black powder and stick cannon fuse down in there. And boy, oh boy, will those blow shit the fuck up.
You know what I used to do? Back when you could buy the box of like, what, 522 rounds?
Mm-hmm.
For like, what, $10, something like that, cheap.
Yeah.
And then the CO2 canisters. You after you use them, take a can opener or something with a point, and you kind of bore the opening up. I used to sit in my room and I would like empty 22 rounds and pour them in there, fill them halfway up. Yeah. And I would take the fuse out of fireworks because I would just throw those in a fire. Because like North Carolina, we can't get. So I'll take the fuses out, stick them in there, tie them really tight, and then just like throw them out in the yard and explode them.
Yeah.
And come to find out, those are actually really dangerous. There's tons of shrapnel. I threw one in a steel pipe in the ground that we had for mortars on a 4th of July. I threw one in the mortar hole and just backed up, and then I looked in there. It was the pipe held it together.
Yeah.
And it was just shreds of metal, super sharp, jagged shreds of metal. But it held the ends together, or the strong points, I guess.
Yeah.
So somehow I never got shrapnel from
that book, The Anarchist Cookbook, will fucking show you some fucking crazy shit. You ever put styrofoam peanuts in gasoline? We're gonna be on a fucking list.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's calm. You already said 2 words back to back that probably shouldn't be said on the internet.
If you take fucking packing peanuts and mix it with gas, it turns into gel, and it will fucking. It's napalm. It's fucking napalm, bro. A lot of people are like, it's crazy what you can buy at the store, right? People are like, oh, you can't buy fireworks, but you can buy diesel fuel and or fertilizer anywhere, and that is a big fucking boom.
We were just talking about, one of our bartenders and I were just talking last night. He was talking about all the household chemicals you can mix together. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what they are. And I was like, oh, it's this, this, and this. Don't mix this and this because then you'll pass out. Don't mix this and this because then you'll have respiratory
problems. We're down in the kitchen and they're pouring all this bleach. I was like, that's concentrated bleach. I was like, it's concentrated. It's not like the kind you get. It's like this much is a lot.
Yeah. Cap full.
Yeah, cap full. Yeah. Cap full. And
8 drops to a gallon of water.
And you see B-Train's shirt, just all of his shirts just fucking covered. I'm like, bro, cap full.
Yeah, he needs a shower.
He's probably the cleanest out of all of us.
You think
He's bleached. He's bleached every fucking Saturday.
No, dude, he has actually, he's given up on cleanliness to an extent. He washes at the end of the night, but he's kind of given up on his own cleanliness. Because I know when he cleans out from under the bar coolers, or the beer coolers, and where all the bottle caps and stuff that you guys throw on the ground, maybe not you as much, but
I definitely throw them on the ground.
I know you do. But when we're crawling around at the end of the night cleaning those up, he stopped wearing gloves because he's like, I want to be able to feel glass. And I don't want to get, not know it's glass and just grab it aggressively and cut, because I guess he's done it enough times.
Yeah.
But so he's just, from here up, and you see all the histamines on his arms.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's what it's from.
No.
Or maybe, he claims.
You know what that's from is because when Brandon gets, anxious, he goes like this a lot. If you watch him, he'll always go like this.
I think it's kind of the 2 problems potentiate each other. I think he's exposing his arms to.
Yeah, well, he's always had that since I've known him.
Oh, well, he's always been cleaning shit at the bars.
Well, it used to not be that bad. That's the only bar I've ever worked at that is that bad. I think that's come from upper management telling us to do that, and
telling us to do what?
Throw it on the ground. Throw everything on the ground.
Oh yeah, which is ridiculous to me. I've
never
been in a bar where that's.
What is that?
And it's honestly, it's ridiculous to me now that I have to clean it up. Now that I'm one of the few people that has to clean it all up, why can't you just do that instead of this? That's not.
It's crazy because I've come up with so many solutions on how to fix any of this, and nobody wants to do it. You know what I mean? And it's just ridiculous. And
I'm gonna get you guys little trash cans to put in
by the thing
places. Yeah, right next to the computer.
Yeah,
clear off some of the nonsense, the little karaoke award or whatever, little props and stuff, and put a little
Yeah, I think it would help having a trash can by it. But I think that some people just don't care.
Oh, and I know.
At all. They don't give no fucks.
It's intentional though. Over in the far corner,
yeah, no.
It's intentional.
That. It's just one person that does that.
I've heard someone get yelled at for finding a trash can. I'm like, why are you wasting time to get a trash can? Just throw it on the floor. But there's good money there, so that might be part of the reason why.
A lot of the craziness about that is a lot of those bartenders, that's their idea of true volume. You know what I mean? They've never really seen
big bars,
the mob. This is not to say I'm a vet or anything. Yeah. But I've seen it 6 deep, and you can't even you can't hear the flashbangs are going off. What?
Yeah, so stop acting like a fucking animal.
They're And it's wild because they're like, we were so busy. I'm like, bro, I was like, 40 grand in sales isn't that crazy. Like, I've seen like $200,000 nights at some bars, you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say there's like really big bars that hold 4,000 people.
Yeah.
And they're allowed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or maybe not bars, but like at that
What's our
point,
capacity?
venues.
Like 282 or something like that?
No, our capacity is just under 400.
Is that up and down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the patio. The patio capacity is 74.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you know how they do capacity though? It's based off how many toilets you have. Isn't that wild?
Not for the patio. There's no toilets on the patio.
It was connected to the inside bar.
But it would be the same capacity if that were the case.
I wonder if it's like the distance to toilets.
I'm pretty sure it has to do with the.
Once again, I could be wrong.
I'm
checker.
pretty sure it has to be with the rate that we can evacuate everybody in the building by. So if you have.
Well, the patio should be unlimited then, because they can all jump over the side. Correct.
With a safe egress.
That depending on how you do it.
Depending on your physical capabilities, which we have to be handy capable also, or handicapped accessible. I don't know what the proper term is.
Yeah.
But
handy capable.
I think that's a word. Yeah, I've heard it. But no, you have so many people, and you have how many exits. I'm pretty sure it's actually the number of exits.
Yeah.
Like, we have that big garage door upstairs that we keep closed for that purpose. The fire marshal is the one that told us to keep it closed so that we can.
I think it's a sound thing.
It's not.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to Scott about it. I thought so originally for a while, and then recently I talked to Scott about it, and he said that he was there with the fire marshal, and the fire marshal was telling him, like, yeah, just keep an eye on this patio. It's a really small space. Your capacity is not as much as you think. And he said, well, how do you do that? And he said, well, close this garage door, and then you have one point of entry. And then you can start to control the volume better. Whereas if we had that big 7-foot garage door where anybody can be coming in and out, it's harder for one guy to just stop and go one in, one out there. Whereas we have an exit that's exit only, and then we have one point of
the big
entry
staircase
that's in or out. So, I mean, it's smart. But
no, it's crazy because I've heard of fire marshals doing like a dump. You know what I mean? But they make everyone exit the bar and count how many people are in there. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
God.
But there's like, it makes you also think like, so buildings have fire capacity. You know what I mean? For every building though, but like, you gotta think of stuff like jails and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what is their capacity? You know what I mean?
They actually probably have a ton of space per person.
Yeah, because they have the yard. Well, no, it's a building still. 4 people in a room. I wonder what that really is.
No, I mean, like, really though, if you
Are you fact checking?
Yeah, there's a whole, like, all kinds of factors, I think. Because it says, like, for an office, there's different considerations. It involves like, the building square footage, but it also involves, like, egress stuff, too, it sounds like.
Egress?
Entry and exit ways.
Underground stuff, that was egress.
Yeah.
All these acronyms I don't know.
No, it's a word. Egress.
All these words I know. People are like, I've always wanted to learn a second language, but I'm like, damn, I don't even know English.
I was growing up. All right, so actually language stuff. My parents are from New York.
So
I don't know if you said that joke on the.
No, we missed it.
Made a joke about my parents not speaking English.
I did not make a joke. He said it was hard for my parents. I said because they don't speak English. It was a question. God damn it. Now
it's okay.
I want to listen
again. It was a funny joke. Kinda, but no. So they're both from New York, both native English speakers, but both of them have both parents from out of the country. So they both speak at least 2 languages.
Really?
Yeah. But
different languages or the same language?
They both speak Spanish. My mom speaks French, and she also grew up in Germany.
Really?
Yeah. So she grew up in Germany and New York. Her dad
and English.
Yes, she speaks mainly English. She's very good at English. Actually.
So English is her first language?
Yeah.
And then Spanish is like second?
She learned Spanish and French at home, and then she lived in Germany when her dad was stationed over there.
No shit.
Yeah.
Does she ever like confuse the languages?
No.
No?
She's very good at... No, it's actually crazy because both of my parents are so fluent in other languages that it's insane that they didn't teach any of their kids anything but English because they were afraid of us growing up with accents or having trouble.
Really?
Basically, yeah. Which I hate now because that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like that, people who learn 2 languages actually typically don't have any sort of an accent in either one. They're just more fluent and can think better in other languages.
You know that weird dude that comes in from fucking... He's got... drinks a vodka, Red Bulls, heavy set, always sits by himself. Got like the fro. He's got like bad acne.
I
I'll
would
point him
know
out
if
next
you
time.
point him out. I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy. But
He's
no,
fucking from Poland. His real language is Polish, and I would never have known that. He speaks
Yeah.
English so well.
When you teach kids young, that whole accent, it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Because the accent comes from something being foreign to you, whereas if you grow up with something
yeah.
to you,
Well,
it
all right.
doesn't-
How about this? Explain the French kids that come in the bar. They're pretty young, and they're.
I'm saying young like a child. Like,
I think there's certain languages, no matter what you do, go to English bad. Probably same thing with English
and
going.
English, yeah.
Yeah, like Asian people. There's always a cliche of how they say things, like "wong." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how like us as Americans or people that speak English make
Make fun of.
make Chinese accents in English. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like wow. And I was like, give it to them for trying.
No, absolutely.
Like-
That's actually a huge thing in the United States specifically that we do that is not common
Anywhere else?
internationally.
No, it definitely is definitely.
It's not common in other countries. Honestly, I think at this point, most people in other countries, not most, but a lot of people in other countries are bilingual, especially compared to us.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like you can go
Even
as
Canada is like French too, right?
that's a region. Quebec there's French territory that.
Yeah, but like most, like all right, so a lot of Canadians speak French.
True. Yes, and we also Quebec. I'm pretty sure is pretty close to the U.S.
Mhm.
Like it's right. I think right above the Midwest. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Fact check. Yeah, that sounds right.
But I also feel like there's places in Florida that don't speak English at all.
There's people in the Bronx and Queens who don't speak English at all.
I believe that. Well,
There's my barber. I went to a Dominican barber and became friends with. I never let him cut my hair again because I didn't like it, but we became cool. He doesn't speak a lick of English.
really. Do
And
people
he's
ever
from
look at you and
New
like
York.
like judge you instantly and think that you speak Spanish
All the time.
All the time?
I've been at grocery stores and had somebody ask me where something was, and it's like I know enough to get by. I can
Yeah.
listen, and I'll be able to pick up what you're saying. Like, especially I was just in Puerto Rico for a week, so
Yeah.
I just got a lot of practice with this. But I've never been able to think in the other language.
Yeah, you
So
have to
I-
think in English and translate to Spanish.
Yeah, and that's where I have trouble. But like, I can listen. If you guys were speaking Spanish
Yeah.
right now, I would know exactly what you were talking
It's a big
about.
if.
There would be words. There would be words that would fly, in one ear out the other. But I would get the gist, and I'd be able to have a response. But I wouldn't be able to respond in Spanish. So that's something I've always struggled with, and been kind of pissed off at my parents for. Because like
Well, it's kind of on you at this point. They make stuff like Rosetta Stones.
they do, but it's
If you start,
that's a commitment I now have to make, as opposed to that could have just been my nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
if you start trying to learn Spanish, I'll start trying to learn it with you. Like at work.
I do know Spanish very well. I need practice. I
Yeah.
don't have people to practice with.
All right, I'll start learning
But-
stupid phrases, and we'll go back and forth at work.
I'm done. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Autumn and I just went for a week, and we've already there's a few things where we've picked up just from speaking to other people
Mhm.
around each other in Spanish, because she actually speaks more Spanish than I do.
Really?
Yeah. And the first time I heard her speak Spanish in Puerto Rico, I was like, oh my god, yeah, her.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I forget, but she's worked in restaurants.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's from Jersey.
That's where I picked up most of my Spanish is from fucking. So,
Worked in restaurant, or construction restaurants.
you ready for story time?
I'm so ready.
I worked at this place called
almost ready.
PF Chang's, right? It was like my first big money making job as a back weight, right? And I was making $200 a shift back then. And I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like when you're like 16, 17 years old, that's fucking bread. You know? It's a tank of gas and, you know what I mean, party for the weekend. You know?
Like, when you were a kid, that was like
What'd you drive?
10 tanks of gas.
What did you drive? I drove a 86 Blazer with a fucking fuel problem.
Okay, when gas was 10 cents.
It was $120 to fill it all the way up from empty. Never forget it. It was also $4 a gallon when I was a kid. Bet you know that. Back when you were just...
2008, I actually do remember gas being that high.
Yeah, I was 18.
The first time.
So I was picking up on Spanish in the kitchen. I thought it was cool, right? They called me Joto, which I thought was like, bro. Like, Joto. And I was like, later to find out, it means faggot in Spanish. And I would introduce myself. I'd be like, my Joto. You know what I mean? And they're like, Joto. Like, Joto.
I actually don't know that word,
It's like slang.
but there's dialects and there's different,
It's
so
like
that could be,
Spanish,
Mexican or
yeah.
Honduran,
Just like
different-
English is like
yeah.
that too. Like you go to fucking You go to Oregon, and people sound like pirates.
Pop.
Pop, yes. Or people will call it everything is Coke. You're like, or let me get a Coke, and they're like, oh, I wanted a Sprite. And you're like, well, that's a Sprite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or when you say soda, people think Coke all the time, but here it's soda water.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was my first big run-in, and that's when I was like, all right, I have to figure out Spanish a little bit more. But after like a year of working there, I mean, like, yo necesito broccoli, ándale. Scare you?
It's cold outside. It's gonna get.
Sure. Are you warm?
I'm good.
This thing's like cooking me over here.
Yeah, it's
It's definitely up here. Definitely worth it though.
catching all of it.
Suck in all the oxygen. Like, didn't know you were gonna get high, huh? I think it's wild that like that we have such a. Everyone's like, oh, I speak English, but do you really speak English? You know what I mean? Do you speak proper English? Do you speak Southern English?
What's
you know
proper English?
Like maybe the Queen's English.
Okay.
You know, like Bob.
Which is
you know what
actually, I mean? Even then, like, that's one thing I'm very proud of this. I'm very good at English.
Yeah.
I kind of honed in on that as not speaking the languages of my people.
Yeah.
Like, I made it my point, like, I'm going to do the best English I can. Well, actually, my mom made me do that. She was like, your last name's Lopez. You have tan skin. People are going to assume the worst. And actually, when I was growing up, there was also, you know, during the Bush administration, huge, like, immigrant focus.
Yeah. Well, I never really, look at Trump, you know what I mean?
And, well, I grew up in Fuquay. Also, we just talked about it. Like,
Yeah.
So
I'm not very familiar of the.
I grew up across the street from a tobacco farm.
Okay.
So.
Really?
Yeah. So if that gives you any context to like the environment that I was raised in.
What was your house like?
Normal suburban house. It was a neighborhood.
It was a neighborhood.
Right?
So it was like a house and then like a tobacco farm.
My house faced the tobacco farm. It was on the outskirts facing out.
Okay.
And the tobacco farm was literally like front yard, street, tobacco.
And then houses behind you.
House
Not like
behind.
solitary house.
No, yeah.
Okay, my first thought was like Courage the Cowardly Dog. When you said that, I was
Right.
like, what? Like, it popped in my head. Like, oh, continue. I'm sorry. You go on.
Yeah, so she made it a point like to make sure she was like, we're not going to teach them Spanish or French or whatever because we don't want them to have accents. And then she also made it a point to be like, you have to enunciate your words. All your friends are going to use slang. All your friends are not going to be good at English. You have to speak better than them because you're going to be profiled. And she like made all of that super, I guess, in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
At a very young age. So I was very conscious about stuff like that young.
Yeah, I do know you are well spoken when you speak.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I've loosened up a lot as an adult.
Yeah.
I've picked up a lot of
Slang.
stuff.
Yeah. But you have to. You know what I mean? Because you're not.
You don't want to be a weirdo.
Yeah, you don't have to. You know what was like my biggest thing was it was always like I would always put like me and so, but it'd be like so and I.
Or so and me.
Yeah, and
There's
like
a
that.
time for that.
That was a big thing. You know what I mean? For me to get, and then not ending a sentence in a proposition all the time. You're like, where's it at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where is it?
Or just things like it.
Yeah.
Or actually, the word it. You're not supposed to use it in a sentence or in a paragraph. You're not supposed to use it in a sentence unless the immediate sentence beforehand told you what it is.
It is. You can't keep using it like five times in a row.
Like if I say I can't find my phone, where is it? That's
Yeah.
okay. But saying where is it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Like, little things like that's not even
English is such a fucking weird language because like it has like a fish, a school of fish, and fishes. You know what I mean? Are all different.
Fishes is not a word.
It is.
Fish. Oh, fish is like the verb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. See.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all like in like the rabbit hole is so fucking like
Complicated.
yeah, and you can be so wrong that you are right at some points. You know what I mean?
And people make people say English is hard because of stuff like that, and because we have a lot of like I don't know what the word. I guess homonyms or homophones or whatever the word specifically means. Like we have 5 different words.
Yeah.
That are spelled differently and have different meanings, or are spelled the same and have different meanings based
Yeah.
on inflection and context. And there's
There, and there. All. There's a sentence out there. It's like buffalo, 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 and it's like a whole bunch of buffaloes, and somehow it makes sense. I can read it and have no idea. I've spoken no other language in English. Maybe I did learn a little bit of Pig Latin when I was in middle school because all the girls would speak it to like so the guys wouldn't know. But once you started figuring out what they were saying. You're like, oh.
Then they just go hide in the bathroom and talk.
Yeah.
And he taught girls to hide in the bathroom.
I also think like
Actually.
different genders have developed different slang to each other.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you've picked up a lot of female slang also.
Yeah, well, you have to. I work with a fucking whole bunch of girls.
Sometimes.
You know what I mean? I work with men that are more female than some females
That's
that
fair.
I know. Gender's a really crazy thing because people are like, that's very man-like or very woman-like, but it's very human-like at some point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain things that you cannot deny that a guy does differently than a girl's. You know what I mean? Even if they identify as a fucking lampshade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could go on and on about that. There's definitely like a polarized, yeah, sure, it's a spectrum, but there are ends of that spectrum, I think, naturally that people fall into. And maybe we're just saying like, oh, well, there's two options, which one do you fit?
Yeah.
Maybe we're doing that, but I think there's gotta be that middle ground somewhere where you can fall somewhere in the middle, but I think you do lean to one side or another, typically mentally. Like, women are more caring typically.
Yeah.
And actually, Jordan B. Peterson, I was just listening to him talk about this, at a very young age, because of, I'm going to butcher this. There's something about, during puberty, women start creating more estrogen and therefore, are affected by it, right? It's what creates some parts of the female anatomy and also changes your brain. And so with women, with the extra estrogen, at a young age, you become more sensitive and you're more in touch with your emotions. And as a woman, that serves to protect you because you typically won't have the physical prowess that the boys growing up will, right? So boys turn rough and tumble, girls turn to other things typically.
Yeah.
And because physically there's not usually competition there, like there's a reason that we work on certain things, and that's been the route that we're supposed to take. Like, men go to school, or boys go to school, and then they get trade jobs historically, right?
Yeah.
And women would get like secretary or factory jobs where the women are better at minor motor functions and men are better at major motor functions typically. And there's things like that I don't think you can ignore.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And without touching any like gender neutrality or gender fairness or whatever, like, I think there are things that we're innately better at, right? Like, you are larger than me. There's going to be some
Call me
jobs.
fat?
You're taller and have a larger frame
I
than
could
me.
sit on the end of the tier taller and boost you up before you could sit on the other end of the tier taller and boost you up. I see what you're saying.
Just tasks in general. Your mass will move more mass. If we are equally in good shape, your mass will move more mass.
Yeah, more or less, depending on what the mass is.
In
Yeah. If you use a lever, it's a very keen thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
if you pry something and you were sitting on it, and like the tier taller thing.
I would only have so much weight to throw against whatever my task is, and that's the case, in that also. But specifically talking about the sensitivity and things like that, women. I just listened to someone talk about this. I thought it was really interesting. But women are more sensitive, so that they are sensitive to their surroundings, because they have to pick up on smaller perceived threats. They have to consciously be wary of their surroundings. They have to constantly be wary of their environment to protect themselves.
Yeah.
That's their form of protection. Whereas men brains are just like, things kick, things are around me, whatever, it's fine. I'm a man. I'll be okay. I'll fight. I'll do whatever. Whereas like naturally, girls have, whatever, smaller bone structures, or, aren't as strong or don't develop the same upper body muscle mass that, men do. And so in combat, we are less worried about people. I don't perceive anybody as a threat as much as, a woman might, right? Like, I feel comfortable walking down the street by myself.
Yeah.
We're taught not to let women walk down the street by themselves.
I roll with a couple girls I would never, ever in my wildest dream imagine trying to kidnap them because they'd break both my arms. You
Absolutely,
know what I mean?
absolutely.
Even if
that's skill that they developed.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Yeah.
And like form over function. You know what I mean? I will say this. I was drinking at this place called the Fox and the Hound, and there's a gay bartender that used to work there, and him and I clicked really good. We used to talk all the time. And he was telling me one night when we were drinking, he's like, I feel like gay people are like the tip of like this is it. This is as good as we're ever gonna get. And I was like, well, why do you feel that? He's like, well, think about this, right? He's like, do you think the world is overpopulated? And I was like, well, maybe it's just infatuated with stupid people. But he's like, I don't reproduce. He's like, I don't make any more stupid people. And I was like, that is actually pretty fucking, that's a good fucking, you know what I mean?
And a lot of people, regardless of your sexual orientation,
Yeah.
are going to want kids.
I think it's very weird that people judge people by their sexual orientation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it's like fucking a child. Then that's when I'm kind of like.
And there's a big argument that people are trying to put forth that is a sexual orientation.
Yeah,
As
I
opposed
don't
to,
know,
like, a
man.
deviant.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
or
we went from
deviancy.
marrying people at 14 years old,
Mhm.
and now people are frowned on by marrying an 18-year-old. You know what I
Or
mean?
talking to an 18-year-old.
Yes.
Or talking to a 21-year-old at a bar.
But like, I feel like love is love to an extent. You know what I mean?
Everything to an extent.
You know, like without a doubt, you can't. You ever watch Twilight?
No.
I bet you're Team fucking Jacob, weren't you?
I could never really pick a bone, or
A bone, yeah. That sounds like something a werewolf would do. Anyways, so they talk about like when I saw that baby, I imprinted on it, and I was in love with that baby. And I was like, that's fucking weird.
It is weird
It's
as hell.
weird.
But also, this is like, it's weird that that's a concept that was pushed on and it was like romanticized by
Yeah.
this book that was then adopted by teenage girls. And that's what's
Fair.
weird.
Fucking
That's
written
what's
by
weird.
a middle-aged woman.
Yes, but the concept, like, remember, I guess it counts as fantasy, right?
Yeah.
In this fantasy world, this was not his choice, right? This was an innate, or like, just instinct that he had that he couldn't help.
Yeah.
Same with when it was time for him to turn into a werewolf. He had no say. Like, he didn't want to. He didn't want to join the gang. He was like,
Can you
no, that
imagine
guy's
how-
bad. And
How
then
like
just, like,
inconvenient that must be. You're just like,
one day you got, yeah, okay, I'll take that inconvenience over
Could you imagine being adopted
not getting
and then just
superpowers.
one day you're just like, what the fuck just
If
happened?
he wasn't with his tribe.
Yeah, right. There was an old movie like that called Teen Werewolf or something like that.
Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And-
just watched it with my dad.
Yeah, it's like an older movie. He's like surfing on the van and shit.
Mhm. And they have a TV show now, Teen Wolf, right? They remade it.
So back on the Twilight shit, that the author made another book called The Host, and it's about a alien species taking over this guy that's trying to trick this girl into falling in love with her. It's fucking wild. It's a crazy book. She's not a very good author. I'm very sorry. I read the books. They're all right. I saw the movies. Painfully.
The Host or Twilight?
Twilight, I watched it with my girlfriend. She loves them.
I don't think they were good as an adult. I'm looking back like, wow, this is garbage.
It is. It's really
But-
trash. It's trash acting. It's trash every storyline. It's got holes in it.
If I'm being honest, I read it because girls around me were reading it.
I did
and
the same thing
wanted
because
to
you
be
wanted
in.
to know what the
And I
fuck was up.
wanted to- yeah, I was like, oh, I'll have something to relate to them to by, or with.
But if you really think about the idea of that vampire being like 300 years old, falling in love with a 16-year-old, that's so different than fucking Leonardo DiCaprio and his new girlfriend.
It is different.
Is it?
Yes,
How?
because
You just look at him as a vampire now. Is it weird? No.
it's different because remember we're in a fantasy world, and this
We're in a fantasy world right now, Vince.
300-year-old man.
Look at all the shit that's going on.
This 300-year-old man is stuck in a teenager's body.
Okay, then make this argument. Brad Pitt still looks like he's in his 20s.
Brad Pitt has gray hair now, doesn't he?
Is that the guy from fucking, Thomas has gray hair. I knew people in high school that had gray hair.
No. Okay.
Can't you?
Gray, like
Gray,
not
gray.
grays.
Gray,
but
gray.
Gray.
No, like,
People.
peep.
Like, how many
Okay,
people?
Okay, we could probably look up this guy if we really wanted. His name, my buddy Chip had a brother named TJ. I can't remember what TJ fucking stood for. But by the end of high school, he had a little patch here in like 9th grade.
Yeah.
And by the end of high school, it was like predominantly his head of gray hair.
Okay, so you just picked up one obscure reference to a person.
But it happens. I'm
It
just
happens,
saying.
yes, okay.
Like, it's non-existent. You know what I mean?
Which
It's
is-
not non-existent.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's weird no matter what. Now, I feel like at a certain point, you're both equally as blamed. Like, you know what you're doing as a 19-year-old dating a 56-year-old man.
I think the.
What did he say to you that wooed you?
I think the whole argument is that they don't. I think that's the point. They don't know what they're doing.
But they
They're
do
too
know
young.
what they're doing.
And that's what makes
they do,
it
They do. God,
unethical.
there goes my fucking broken English.
I think they do. I don't think we give young people enough credit for their decisions, and I think we expunge things that, like, you know what I mean.
But you gotta look at all the
Oh,
young
they're
people that
just
have done
young, dumb.
great things.
Exactly. No, that's why
You know
we
what I
don't
mean?
give them enough credit
Like-
for their actions because there's.
But
you know,
500 years ago, what was the expected life rate? You know what I mean? 1,000 years ago, what was expected? Like 30? You know what I mean? What was old 2,000 years ago? All right, fact checker. What was old? What was old
2000 when Jesus
when
was around?
Jesus was around?
Probably like
what was the
50 to
average
60,
age?
I would
No.
say. Yeah, dude.
You think
50.
60?
60 is like the upper
average
end of
old
the
age.
life expectancy.
I bet you it's like late
I'm
30s.
betting it's in the 50s. What are we betting?
Oh, we did this with Hellboy and you weaseled out of it.
I didn't weasel.
You
You misunderstood my. All right. It was
We're gonna weasel out of
synapse error or syntax error.
Yeah, guesses.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Wait.
50s
The loser has to speak in a fake accent for a day at work.
for a day.
For a whole day.
Can I pick the accent if it's me? Like if I have to do it, can I pick my own accent? Because like if you pick,
Let's
some
agree on
obscure-
one accent together.
Ooh. What do you feel confident in?
I can do good Indian. Not like
No,
dot, not feather.
Not doing that.
But you're
Native or dot. Okay, Indian.
the country of India.
Indian. Yeah.
Not the ones that we slaughtered
Not
when we
indigenous
came
people.
over here.
You speak for yourself.
I'm white. I'm sorry. I'm sorry
Colonizer.
for my people's thing. Like, you know how bad it is, like, paying for my ancestors? Like, my fucking uncles and they didn't fuck up. But, like, my grandpas, oh, man, I'm still paying for that today.
I'm not asking you to pay for shit. But
But would you watch somebody ask me pay for shit?
would I watch?
If someone...
Yeah, I'd watch.
Yeah,
Watch the,
yeah, I
I
bet
would
you
watch
would.
the request.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's the accent? How about we have to...
Just some like a.
How about three octaves higher than we normally speak? We have to speak like this all
I
day!
actually don't have an upper register anymore after COVID.
Oh,
Let's just pick any just agree British of any kind. So
I can't
like
do British.
any-
Horrible British.
UK?
British is the only thing I can say in British.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Any European accent. We'll just say that. I think those are easier because then that can include like Spanish, French, any English accent, Irish, Russian.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You're not
yeah.
used to making fun of your own people.
White people are so easy to make fun of. Are you joking me? We suck so bad. We're trying to do better. All right. What is it?
What's your guess?
30,
Yeah.
38. 38. I'm gonna say it's the average.
55. Wait, is it Price is Right where if I'm like it's 54 and I say 55, am I
We'll
wrong?
say
I
the
have a range.
Closest.
the closest.
Oh, okay, so the closest to the median of that range.
Okay. So what I've got is 30 to 40, roughly.
You got it.
The highest I've seen is 45 in the different
Yeah.
things I've
Let's
seen.
see that British accent.
Okay.
But I don't know if that
I knew it wasn't long, dude.
But I don't know if that's counting for like the average like people live to, if that's accounting for things like people dying super young back
Yeah.
in the day. Like if it averages out. That's
I
the
think
thing
that's how
don't
that works,
know.
though. Life
I think it
expectancy
is.
takes that into account, I think.
I think so.
Because you could have one person that lives to be 100 and one person that dies at birth, and that would probably be 50. You know what I mean?
So Jesus dying at like 33 isn't that wild. Like, that's crazy because I feel like he was just a healthy
All right.
guy,
He didn't die. He was murdered.
which was his cause of death.
Yeah. All right. I guess that is dying. He rose again.
He didn't pass away.
You know, realistically, like, I'm not big into religion. Could you imagine if Jesus really was the Son of God? I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying if he is or was,
And we just killed him.
and we just fucking murked him. That's what we do.
That's people, that's
can you
humans.
imagine? And if God exists, can you imagine? Like, well, I'm not fucking sending my daughter down there.
Yeah,
like
right.
fucking hey.
God.
And I love how like white people have all these pictures of Jesus being like white. You know what I mean? Like that's their ideal Jesus
Yeah.
is like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right?
Yeah.
But no, hair of wool.
He was a Middle Eastern man. I mean, he's Northern Africa. Like,
No way he was white.
No, it's
walked around the desert for 40 days.
well, that's what you know. What happened? Like, all right. So Jesus,
Name a white person that can be in the sun like that.
Jesus was crucified, right? And the Romans did it, right? By actually, I think his people's hand.
I think what killed him was a spear, right? A spear stabbed him in
No.
the fucking
You're
wrist.
thinking
He
of
was
Gladiator.
crucified, and they stabbed him when he was on the... Google it. I bet you're right.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure.
I've never heard of a spear.
They put it... They as he was dying, they stabbed him with a spear.
Clearly not big on religion. They might have like prodded him. I
Well-
don't doubt that. But I don't think that was. I think they just left him up there to die.
Yeah.
They nailed him up. They made him carry it.
Am I
and they
right?
Nailed him up.
I'm fucking
Was he
right.
stabbed?
The final wound was in the side of his chest, for according to the New Testament, he was pierced by the lance of Longinus in order to be sure he was dead.
Here I go.
And blood and water poured out of the wound.
Stand corrected.
I should
Blood
have
and water?
written that.
So, I know this because a long time ago, I was really into Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm a big
fuck
Indiana.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
Phase.
I would, if I love my girlfriend to death and I'm very glad we're together and all that good stuff, but if I could go back, 100% would have been a treasure hunter. 100%. There's so many things out there that are just missing. Just missing. Gone. That existed, that we know existed, that just don't exist anymore.
That we think existed, or we're pretty sure existed a lot of the times.
Alright, okay.
Also, things get destroyed and things get stolen.
Yes.
And some of the stolen things you're never going to find because they're in some billionaire's safe somewhere.
Yeah, in like a fire protected room or some shit, right?
Where you can't even get within 100 feet without the alarms going off, and then it gets like sealed.
Correct.
Acid surrounding it.
Yeah, right?
It's crazy
Spikes.
stuff.
A big rolling rock comes down after you.
Boulder,
yeah, so
gotta,
I've seen
then you got to go back for your hat.
The fucking pit of snakes.
Yeah.
Can't leave your hat. But like lots of fucking trade ships sank in the middle of the fucking ocean with lots of wine and fucking, you know what I mean? Even like a lot of like these Egyptian like pyramids, we're finding out now that there are like all these secret rooms, and like now of all times now, and it's just like, well, they have grave robbers and stuff. I'm like, bro, I bet you there's something in one of them motherfuckers
that hasn't been touched.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know what I mean?
But then also, like, how many secret rooms or vaults are empty?
I even have one. I got to go.
You know what I mean?
My brother and I, we dug like probably one of the deepest holes I've ever dug by hand, and in an ammo box, it has a dead bird, a picture of me and Tyler, and a note, and a whole bunch of other stupid things. I think there's like a Tamagotchi, and it's buried. Me and my brother were talking about
Tamagotchi pet.
like there's a whole bunch of dumb things. A BB gun, I think, is in there. A couple Hot Wheels cars, and it's buried like, I want to say 100 feet, but it's not really. It's probably 6 to 8 feet deep in my parents' old backyard. And we've talked about knocking on the door and be like, can we just dig it up? Like, it's got to be here.
I buried a time capsule in my childhood back.
Yeah.
Actually, in that house across from the tobacco field, I buried a time capsule, which was not waterproof.
Yeah. Ours is an ammo box, so I think it's
putting
pretty... Ammo boxes are pretty watertight.
They are very watertight.
And like, it's even crazier now because like you think about the shit we did back in the war. We sank all of our fucking tanks when we left Vietnam. We sank all of our tanks, all of our jeeps in the water. You know what I mean? Like, those are gonna be there.
Well, you know, like private companies to this day have been like going to sites like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that stuff's still valuable.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But like the ones they miss, and like imagine we get nuked, right? Everyone in the panel, we go down to like bare minimal bones, like going to Walmart, you know, getting Dippin' Dots and shit to like live on. You know what I mean? We go back to ground zero, no electricity. We all of our history for the most part was either in books and now on the internet. If we lose the internet, we lose a lot of our history now because nothing's written down. Wiped out, right? What do we have? What's the last real book that's been written on our history? Like maybe like Encyclopedia 2000. Can you buy encyclopedias anymore? Or the world books to date?
I bet they do.
I don't know that Britannica prints them anymore.
Fact checker.
Yeah. I think I heard something about that recently, like the
you have to.
Is a thing of the past.
And I wonder how many of those books from back when we were kids, like the world books, are wrong now. You know what I mean?
All of them.
Or just like took it out of context, you know what I mean?
Yeah, all of them.
Especially the ones written in English.
Yeah, if they were written for English speakers to read, there's tons of things that I'm sure today would be corrected. Think about this. Wikipedia is essentially our encyclopedia now.
Yeah.
There's no need for an encyclopedia because of Wikipedia and similar databases.
Funny enough, did you know you can go on Wikipedia and change anything you want?
Yes.
I actually got banned.
Yeah.
From Wikipedia
They're
for
really
doing
good
that.
at monitoring that.
But what did it take them? 2 hours to ban me?
That was from the D&D game.
I was playing a D&D game with Brandon, and he was fucking cheating because fuck you, Brandon Hall, because he was the dungeon master. So I went on fucking the encyclopedia website and changed the whole thing to favor me. And then I sent him, I was like, look, it says this on Wikipedia, you're wrong.
I'm sure that was such a mind fuck for him.
And the guy that banned me was a bearded wizard, 1994. Like, banned me from encyclopedia for 3 days.
I mean...
Oh, no shit.
What year?
$1,000.
This year's.
$1,200. Yeah.
I would like to read some of that. Out of curiosity.
It's got a mark on it.
Would rather buy a gun and just be right all the time.
Until someone has a bigger... You know what? You know what's better? You know what's better than a gun? Is a drone.
I just got into an argument, actually. It was a soft argument over that.
Yeah.
I was talking about drones, and I was like, yeah, well, nowadays, you can literally just not be anywhere near the fight.
Yeah.
and take people out from the sky
Yeah.
and not be recognized in the sky.
I feel like that makes the worst kind of enemies. Can you imagine the vendetta you would have against someone you have no clue about that just wiped your family out with a drone?
Well,
You don't just hate one person. If someone shoots your family, like someone walked in and shot my girlfriend, I'd be like, I'm going to kill them, right?
Yeah.
If someone fucking nuked my girlfriend's apartment while she's in it, I'd be like, wow, now I hate everyone that had a hand in that. You know what I mean?
well, also like
Sorry that you were the.
yeah, hypothetical murder. Drones are arguably safer. Think about someone coming in home invasion, right?
Yeah.
They have to reach, identify targets. They have to identify the right person they're trying to kill, and kill that person.
Mhm.
Assuming it's not everybody. Casualties are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's gonna be people caught in the crossfire. Drones. No one's on guard. No
Yeah.
one's paying attention. You can select your target from afar, get up close slowly. By the time they realize what's going on, you already made your kill shot.
Yeah.
And then nobody else has to die.
But I
You
feel like
are not in danger.
now I feel like there's a really big argument of this. Think about how smart computers are getting now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What if our next enemy is not aliens or humans? What if like Google becomes fucking self-aware?
Did you just watch Terminator recently?
I did not, but I've seen them all. But like, seriously, Skynet's like is like a made up idea, but it's
No. It's real.
you know, it could happen. You know what I mean? Like, what is humanity's biggest fucking problem right now? It's us. We are our own biggest problem. We kill more of us than anything else. You think a lion murders us? No, we murder us by the
And the
thousands, and then we justify it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are proud of it. And I get it, right? Home invasion. So I'm busting your house, trying to fucking rob and murder you. I get it. Blow their fucking brains all over the fucking wall. You know what I mean? Skin them alive. I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I mean? They had that coming. But you know what I mean? Like, you hate somebody because of their religious beliefs and you fucking tear up their town. You know what I mean? Like, why? I do. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is something about like AI is it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like it's not tangible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't hurt it.
It's not like the movies where you just go to the place and unplug it or smash the server.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's another. It's
all
in
it
your
needs is
phone.
one iPhone to exist farther.
still use
or
it.
a fucking a car now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Car, computer, phone, watch.
Do you like
Fucking-
the other thing is? Do you think if AI was to start doing that, would it spare anybody? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or would it just murder
There's
us all?
things. Okay, so there's things that humans are necessary for a lot of things to happen. We're protecting endangered species. We're also poaching,
Yes,
but
that was gonna be my next point right when you said that.
even without poaching, just the circle of life or the nature of the world, things go extinct.
Yeah,
Right? Without us, with or without
Mhm.
us, things are going to go extinct. Humans try to stop that from happening. Right? Like, we've put forth an effort to continue everything.
I think we only stop the things that we're extincting. Does that make sense? Is extincting a word? Like we're because we are doing something, we're making these animals go extinct. Correct?
fact check.
But now,
Don't-
can you Google it? Extincting is a word.
Verb version of of making something go extinct.
Wiping out. There's gotta be.
Wiping out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just do that.
we're destroying this, so we're trying to protect it. If we didn't exist, arguably, maybe that would have never gone extinct.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
You know what has gone extinct without our
Dodo birds.
interception or intervention, I guess. Most of the things that I think have ever existed on this earth.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Have gone
we're
extinct.
evolved, and that's a cool. If you bring religion in that, nothing really ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think if something evolves and the previous version that no longer exists, I think
Yeah.
that counts as extinction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or to me, I guess I don't know if that's correct scientifically, but
Yeah.
like
There's a scientist that believes that we're going to start losing toes in the next couple hundred years.
we don't need them.
Especially like in like our era, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't use all of our toes like we should.
A couple
You-
hundred years is short.
Yeah, I think he said we're gonna like the first one to go is a pinky. You know what I mean? Your pinky toe will people will start being growing.
Just like-
you know what I mean?
It'll be webbed.
Yeah,
first,
your
and then-
fingers are gonna start getting longer. Your eyes will get bigger. Or no, I can't remember what he said. He said just
Yeah.
big changes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And even if you look at, we'll just say Jesus. How tall do you think Jesus was?
I don't know, 5'6", 5'7".
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like what was the average height 2,000 years ago? Like, we've evolved to be taller.
5'6", 5'7", probably. If I had to guess. I can't imagine it'd be shorter.
Yeah. But then you have fucking people like in Russia, they're all 6'6" and fight bears. They're evolved.
They're not all 6'6". There's plenty of Russian guys. 5'5". Shit.
Yeah, so Sebastian's height.
That was the average height?
That was the average.
Is he
height.
5'5"?
I'm probably 5'6", but he wears those boots.
Does he wear boots? I haven't even noticed.
Dude, if I was in, like, I feel like I'm very happy with where I am in height. I would like to be maybe 2 inches taller. I can ride all the
Everybody
rides.
would like to be 2 inches.
No, there are people out there.
Under 6'4", everybody would like to be a couple.
No. I think 6'4" is too big. I think I'd be right at like 6'1". I'd be happy. I'm like 5'11" and 3/4. I squeeze every bit of that 3/4 I
I'm
can.
like 5'8" and 3/4. Swear to God.
But it's a good height.
And no one thinks I am. My brothers and my dad
we
think
wear
I'm
boots
6
a lot.
foot. No, I didn't used to wear boots. I used to wear Chucks and Vans. And my
Oh, yeah.
brothers and my dad, both, or all three of them one time, were sitting in the living room and everybody insisted I was 6 feet tall. Because they all are.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I know how tall I am. And they like pulled out a measuring tape. They didn't believe me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a posturing thing. I don't know if that's like,
Yeah.
I do wear boots, but like, that's a newer thing
Yeah.
as far as my whole life.
Boots are great. You could have never told me that 10 years ago. Boots are like the pinnacle of like the footwear. And people can say whatever they want, like, oh, my shoes are comfortable. Well, fucking drop something on your foot.
Not
the fu-
even, dude. You just haven't worn boots long enough if you
Yeah.
don't think they're comfortable. Like,
I got a pair that are falling apart and I love them so much.
when you, yeah, they're your
literally
foot.
falling
They're
apart.
made like your foot is
They're
now the
trash.
inside of them.
Like-
Soft shoes will fall apart and they will go back to their factory shape once you take them off. Boots
They
are your
mold.
foot on the inside.
I don't know. I got a couple pairs of sneakers I've worn at the bar and they've been wet so many times. I can literally feel my toe. And when I put them on, I can feel my toes just.
The indent.
You ever see Power Rangers when they're like, it's morphin' time? They all slide in their position. That's my toes. They're like, "Ee." Clothes are probably like one of the biggest things that it's funny because clothes were used like back in the day, I'm sure for fashion as well, but like their main purpose was like to be warm, to protect yourself. Now people, like, what's the point of a collar on your shirt?
Old lapels used to be bigger, so you could flip them up and protect yourself from the wind.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
And then we
actually,
just kind of slowly reduced it, and then also to cover the neckties. So because we didn't have buttons, we just had a bunch of cloths, so you would have a necktie to hold your shirt together.
yeah, got me there. I didn't know that. Clothes are all right. How
The
about this?
last bit might have been my brain. I don't remember.
Putting it all in there.
The rest of it, I know we didn't have
Yeah.
buttons at some point. Like
Yeah, but some things are strictly for fashion. You know what I mean? Earrings.
nowadays, I mean,
You know
we
what I
have
mean?
T-shirts now. We can just wear T-shirts all the time or hoodie.
Well, honestly, and I'll be real with you, I'm a big advocate of walking around shirtless. And I free the nipple, all that good stuff. I think girls should be able to do it too. I just don't think you show your dick to people. I honestly don't think it's a problem if you show your dick to people, as long as you're not showing your dick to people. Does that make sense?
No, it did not.
You're not walking like, here's my dick. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if you're walking around naked, I don't think that's a big like you ever go into like a locker room and everyone's naked and no one gives a fuck?
No, I give a fuck. I've always hated locker rooms.
Oh. I never
Younger.
give a fuck. I mean, I don't walk around
Yeah,
naked.
alright. I don't
but
actually
like,
give a
I
fuck.
don't
I
really,
guess
I
whatever,
don't,
but-
it doesn't take me twice to swap my boxers.
I remember the first time I was in an adult locker room.
Yes. Scarring.
Distinctly. Yeah, dude. And it wasn't even anybody I was with that I saw. It was at the YMCA on Hillsborough, Alexander YMCA. My uncle snuck me in. I wasn't supposed to be in there.
Oh, tell me more.
He snuck me in so that he could play basketball. He was supposed to be watching me, but he wanted to go play basketball with his friends. So he snuck me in through the locker room. And I remember walking to the basketball court, and I looked to my left in the locker room, and there's this old, like, 60 to 70-year-old guy just standing there with a towel on his face and nothing else.
It's always
and I
the
just
old
saw
man.
old man balls for the first time.
It's always the old man. Which YMCA was this?
Alexander?
Shut the fuck up!
No.
Okay, story time. With Joe. I used to work for the Y for a long time, came with a free gym membership to the Alexander, and they just redone everything. The Y now there is beautiful. That used to be a Boys and Girls Club, or it used to stand for like Young Men Catholic Association. Is that the YMCA?
Christian,
yeah. They used to have little dorms there where you could stay for like 5. Anyways, they redid everything in there, and they have a really nice steam room, have a really nice sauna. Steam room's great. But I realized if you go, because I always worked in bars, I'd go in the hours of like noon to like 3. And you'd go in the fucking steam room, and there's like 9 naked old men. And you're like, why not wear a towel? You don't even have to pay for the towel. The towels aren't even, you know what I mean? Like, I never fucking figured it the fuck out. I couldn't get it. I couldn't grasp my mind on it.
But you get it now.
I don't. I will not.
You're saying, like, you think everybody should be able to walk around naked. So, like,
Correct.
that means you have some sort of connection to the concept of, like, I just want to have my dick out. Like,
True.
you get it.
But it cannot be comfortable setting your balls on that fucking tile in the steam room.
Fair.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem people being naked at the beach. You know what I mean? You know, like, grocery stores, yes, maybe underwear. You see what I'm saying? Like, time and place. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Autumn would love to be a part of this conversation.
I think nudity is just like how you're born. I don't think it should be a problem ever. If you were taught to be ashamed of our bodies for our natural things, like I have acne on my fucking shoulder blades, you know what I mean? And like, I still clean my body, and like, it's like I'm not ashamed of it. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's like
I would
it's
argue
there.
if you didn't wear clothes all the time, you might not have acne.
True, I agree. In fact, I remember when I worked on the farm, I didn't have any acne on my back because I never wore a shirt.
It's real.
But my
Shoes,
legs were
feet
so
shouldn't
fucking
be as dirty as they are, or as
No.
smelly, or whatever. Like, they shouldn't have a smell. We just
yeah.
like
I don't wear deodorant. I never fucking
make
wear
them sweat like this, and then it just all builds up.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I never wear deodorant. Unless I start to stink. I never wear deodorant. I think it's just toxic. I think it's disgusting. And like, unless I smell myself, I'm like, I stink.
You know what's weird? I had a phase. Shit. I had a phase where I think they're all broken. Actually, I had these in my pocket at work.
Yeah, that's the end of them.
I had a phase where I didn't use soap.
Yeah. I think a lot of soap is bad, especially anything that comes out of a bottle you squirt.
And it was an experiment that I wanted to do to see, like, do I really smell, or do I just have to, like, rinse all the stuff off? You know, because I know I'm wearing clothes, and it's all in a confined space, and it's sweating, and it's building up, and then I'm doing it again later after it dries. Like, it's dirty. But, like, do I actually smell? Do I need fragrance to make me smell good? Or, like, what's my natural scent? So I had a phase where I would still wear deodorant just because I was an athlete. At this point, I was in high school. When I was an athlete, I had 2 practices and a workout every day. So I wore deodorant for everybody else's sake. Especially as a cheerleader, you're, like, constantly with your arms up in front of people. And I remember specifically asking people, like, hey, do I smell?
Yeah.
Never once did anybody say that I smelled bad.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of girls in my life tell me, like, no, I really like your smell, like, after you get home from work. Like, you have your smell.
Yeah.
You don't wear deodorant. I would have never known that if you hadn't told me that.
Well, sometimes I start to stink, and it's when I perspire a lot. Like, at the gym, or at work when I'm moving a lot. And then I'll spray some on, because I get it. Nobody wants to work with a stinky guy. But, like, day to day, I don't put deodorant on. I just don't think it's necessary. And, believe it or not, you're actually supposed to put deodorant on before you go to bed.
Yeah. You're also supposed to shower before you get
these are lymph nodes that are in your armpits. It's like you're clogging it.
Yeah.
The only thing I do say you should probably do is like some kind of lotion. Because your skin is an organ. You know what I mean?
Even then, like, you wouldn't need as much lotion if you didn't dry it out with all the detergents.
True.
That, like, I've noticed that too. Like, I've had my... It's weird. I just thought about this actually recently because I just was in Puerto Rico, right? My grandmother lives there. I grew up in that house. Like, I didn't grow up there, but I grew up in that house. And I knew in my brain as a child, I was like, we're at the beach.
Yeah.
She doesn't live on a beach, but, like, the beach is right down the road.
Yeah.
You can walk there. And we went to the beach all the time. That's what my mom loves to do. So we're at the beach. Every time I'm in Puerto Rico, regardless of where I am, never wore shoes.
Yeah.
But I'm, like, in people's houses, in the driveway, in the roads, in the woods, like, not wearing shoes.
I had the fucking feet, man.
As a grown man, I still go to my grandmother's house and don't wear socks or shoes anywhere because I'm just, like, my brain is like, this is what we do. And after a week of, I only stayed there a couple nights, but after a week of just not wearing shoes around because my brain still associates that island with a place you don't need shoes. Even though, like, there's dirty area, there's definitely filthy areas, right? The beaches are really clean. There's a lot of other barefoot people, but it's not like your house. Like, it's not like just being at home. Like, you're out and about. My feet were gross. They were black on the bottom, but they didn't smell. All right, they didn't have, like, that gross feeling like I need to clean my feet. It's just like, oh, there's dirt. I need to clean my feet. You know, so I don't track it into the bed. But that's something like being open and exposed. Is natural for us. Autumn will rant and just bitch incessantly about Eve fucking up our nakedness.
Yeah.
Like, well, she said, had to eat that fucking fruit. I love fruit too. You don't see me? Like,
the epitome of why girls don't know where they want to eat. Because the last time they picked where they wanted to eat, they ruined the world.
saving that one for later.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
I think I also roll in jiu-jitsu. We never wear shoes and socks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On the mats, and you just don't. You know what I mean?
Out of respect for each other. You don't wear socks either. Nobody wears socks.
No one wears socks.
I've seen people rolling in socks, and I always think it's so weird because grip.
You won't get traction.
Yeah, grip.
But the other thing is when your bacteria on your shoes from outside, you're bringing everything to the mat. You know, that's how you get like MRSA and staph and shit.
Well, that's why I think Oriental is okay when you're talking about the region. Just to be, I'm not talking about people.
Not the sauce.
In the Orient
Chick-fil-A.
or in Asian countries, like that's just a normal thing. Take your shoes off when you walk in the house. It's just like all of my Asian friends growing up that I'll go over to their house. That's a common thing. Take your shoes off at the door.
Yeah.
Just respectfully, respect for the house. You don't bring outside dirt and whatever you may have stepped in into the house. I don't enforce that in my house, but I get it.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, a lot of
I have
people
a
had
dog.
carpets in the fucking 90s.
I have carpets on the stairs and carpet in my room upstairs. Like
that's I think that's where the big shoes in the house thing was when I was a kid. There's carpet everywhere.
yeah, but like I have a dog.
Yeah.
He goes out in the same section of grass for the most part and pees and then walks around and smells some more and then comes inside.
So you know what I
don't
thought
clean his feet.
like is crazy about dogs like in the city versus like, in the country? No dogs in the house. I've never like when I lived in the farm, no dogs in the house. They'll sleep outside.
That's a person to person thing though. Like my
I think
dad's
it's a
from the
region
city.
thing.
No, my dad's from the city and my dad says no dogs in the house. Dogs are outside.
Well, I mean, people
But-
that live in the city mostly. You know what I mean?
But my old business partner, his parents or his mom specifically trains dogs. She trains hunting dogs. So she's always got like 7 black labs.
Yeah.
Like chocolate labs. All over they have a farm.
Yeah.
And they're always all over the, running. There's like big, huge kennels outside. Most of them sleep outside. But there's like the older dog, as they get retired, they get to live in the house. So they still have dogs in the house, but it's like they're a farm family. Like they have, I don't even know how many acres, but it's the Morgan farm in Bailey, whatever the fuck it is. But they let dogs in the house. They're in the like. But that's definitely most of the dogs. They can't have all 8, 7, whatever dogs they have in the house. That just wouldn't.
I think having a dog for a pet and then having a dog for protection are 2 different things. You know what I mean? Like you don't like people will buy a Chihuahua and you don't. That dog is not a tool. That dog is a hobby, if you will. You know what I mean? Well, people will buy a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And be like, train the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? And like
People have their German Shepherds inside.
yeah. Well, damn.
Even in the country, German Shepherds are like. I think it's also the type of dog and what type of work they're doing.
And it's crazy because we've like bred that dog to be that way. Because the first version of that dog is like, oh god, I can't remember. It's like tiny. It's an itty bitty dog. And it's wild. My buddy Sam trains dogs, and Sam's a super cool guy. Rolls jiu-jitsu with me. He's just very like in his head, and he'd be the one that you think speaks to dogs. Am I keeping you late?
No, Super Bowl's about to kick off.
Do you need to roll anytime?
I'm supposed to be getting a tattoo, so I said I would show up when I was.
Alright. But like it's crazy like to see his lock with dogs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his perspective on dogs. Like he doesn't look at a dog as a hobby. He's like, this is a living, breathing soul that understands when you're angry, sad, you know what I mean? And then other people look at dogs like, oh, this is my dog. Like it's like an accessory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's very interesting, you know what I mean? To see the outlook on all that.
I think about that all the time, actually. I work long hours. I haven't always had a girlfriend. Even before I worked at the bar we work at, I've worked long hours. Before I worked at Tin Roof, the summer before I worked at Tin Roof, I was working 80 hours a week.
Yeah. You're a working dude. You always are busy.
Now, not so much. Now, I
And
have a
you're
lot of
nice,
free
which
time.
are two horrible things that go nice and nice, like together.
Yeah.
You can't be nice and be a hard worker at the
hard.
same time, because people will be like, "Hey man, do you mind doing this?" And you're like, "Well, fuck it," you know what I mean?
Nah, it doesn't even take that much. It's like I just see stuff that needs to get done, and regardless of if it's my job or not, if it affects people around me, I want it to get done.
No, I feel you. I stopped being like that real quick after like the farm. I think the farm chained me a fucking lot. I was just like, no. I was like, that is not my job. I was like, that house burned down, but that is a firefighter's job. I was like, no one's in it. I'm not. No.
I put out a car fire on 264 one time. Just
Oh, really?
random- yeah.
Was it a giant van?
No, it was
Okay.
like a Mazda RX-7 or RX-8.
Okay.
And I saw this big plume of smoke flying out of this car going the opposite direction. I was like, fuck, I don't think that guy realizes his car's on fire. He was just driving. And so I hauled ass to the next exit, turned around, caught up with him. By the time I got back, he was on the side of the road on his phone. Like, I guess he was on the phone with 911. And I was like, hey, are you good? I saw you and I came, and he was like, yeah, they told me not to, or what did he said something like, yeah, I just bought this car. He was all pissed off. And I was like, all right, well, he had the hood open already, and there's flames flying out of the engine. And
Supposed to do that.
So I went to my car, and I had no back seats. I took the back seats out for weight reduction. I used to be a big like JDM guy.
Really?
Yeah, and I had just a bunch of stuff in the back seat. I had a wool blanket and a towel, and I grabbed the towel because I don't want to fuck up my blanket. And I went and I just started patting down the. I was like, it's just a fire. Like I'll just pat it down. But there was a lot of oil in the obviously, right? And I was like, did you change the oil? Like, what? Why is it overheating this bad? Like, what's going on? He was like, I don't know. I just changed the oil, and I'm pretty sure he just didn't put the drain plug back in, and it drained out.
Yeah.
And so it was running low, and whatever residual oil was in it.
Yeah.
Fire.
Sat on the headers or something. Got hot.
Yeah, or maybe I made
Yeah.
head gasket was like leaking.
They
oil all
just
over.
sat there and got hot.
And so I start patting it down, but the bottom of the engine was catching fire also, and like feeding it to the top. So everything I patted down would just catch again. And then it was dripping oil onto the grass. The grass was on fire. Fire was like feeding.
Yeah.
So no matter what I did, it was so I was like, all right. I went under the car, patted it down. I was like, get in, put it in neutral, just roll it forward for me. As he's like moving the car forward, I'm like patting down the grass in the underbelly of the car. And then I got up while I was moving and like patted the rest and put the fire out. For some stranger on the highway.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
As I finished.
Way more.
Yeah, as I finished, he's like, yeah, 911 told me not to touch it. And I was like, well, you didn't. And I saw over the horizon that fire trucks are coming. And I'm like, yeah, let me get out of here before they yell at me, because they don't like when people do their jobs.
It's crazy because like you talk about like so fun fact about Vince, if you ever break down the road, he has like everything in his car to fix your shit. In my truck and my girlfriend's Jeep, there's a fire extinguisher, there's a case of water, there's minimal tools but enough to like get you somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just dumb things. I think there's actually a wool blanket and a lantern and a couple flashlights. King of flashlights over here. I bet, yeah. Do you have it? This flashlight will burn you. In fact...
Hold this against your arm for like 3 seconds.
This part?
The button. Yeah, push
turn it on first.
the other button. No,
Turn the
the other part.
The light.
It's probably already hot.
Oh my God,
You feel
it
it?
is.
Yeah, it's super hot. 2,600 lumens.
No, now I have to turn that off.
Ridiculous.
I just feel like being prepared for like the very bare minimal. There's rope in there, there's straps. You just never fucking know. There's a jump
never
box
know.
in there. Even in my bike, there's like random tools and always water. I always have a couple things of water.
Water everywhere.
And people don't think about it. Like these fuckers get stuck in these snowstorms, and they're like dying in their car, and they're like, I'm like, oh well, dehydration. Like what? You know what I mean? There's 3 cans of ravioli in the back just in case. Like, I always think that's smart. Some people have never broke down in the middle of nowhere, and they have no idea what that's like.
Not even, dude. Some people have never not been able to go home.
Yeah.
Because your house burned down.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have left? I keep cash, water. Like, I don't actually have any automotive tools except what I need to change a tire and spark plugs.
Yeah.
And I keep like one little like, you know, the open-ended ratcheting wrenches.
Yeah,
that have, like the
monkey
4
wrench.
different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not an adjustable one. But
No.
like, yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't have much to work on cars actually, but I do have like, if I lock my keys in my truck, in my toolbox, I have airbags and a fish stick.
The last time he locked his keys in his truck, he's like, my keys are locked in his truck. I was really tempted to smash his window, but like, no, they're not.
When we had multiple people with AAA in the building, was like fighting the urge to break glass.
If you would have driven a piece of shit car 100, if it would have been Thomas's car, I would have definitely done it. I would put the window back in for you, but
Well, actually his window is just like
Yeah, he
you
didn't
just
break
pull it
down. So, all right, I gotta get one for you. Our building was burning down one time, right? And I used to think it was funny to save all my ones from work. I probably have like $5,000 in ones.
Yeah, I do that right now.
And it's a horrible idea. Let me explain why.
I have a fire safe though.
I do too, but it doesn't matter if you can't get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but after it burns down, you still have this.
I'm on the 10th floor. I'm gonna have to be digging. Yeah. All right, so just follow me on this. All right. I'm like looking around. I'm like, holy shit, the building is actually on fire this time. Some lady had left her like pot on or something. And I'm like, fire trucks are outside. I'm like, what do I need to grab? And I like look around. I was like, dog, girlfriend, guns, money. And so I'm fucking in my gym shorts. I put both my pistols in my backpack and like $5,000 in ones in my backpack, and I'm shoving it. I was like, let's get the cars out of the parking deck. I'm riding my bike. With this backpack with like $5,000 in $1 bills and 2 guns in it. I'm like, if I get pulled over right now, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna say. They're all wrapped up in band, you know what I mean, in hundreds, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. So now I save my hundreds instead of my ones.
Yeah.
Way easier to put in your pocket. I also have a safe. I think safes are fucking mandatory in houses.
I say a safe. I don't have an actual like safe, like box type safe that you think with a door and a lock and combination, whatever. I do. I have one for a handgun in my truck that's bolted to the bottom of under the seat, like just for if I'm somewhere and I'm like, oh, I can't go in there, so I'm not gonna leave it in the truck. I'm gonna lock it up. But in the house, I don't have any like actual big metal safes. I have like a fire envelope, if that you can put.
It's like $150. It's like the best investment. It's bolted to the fucking floor. I never worry about anything. You know what I mean? Like anything that's worth the fuck. You'd really have to try to get that safe out.
I just went out of town and had to drive all of my long guns to Fayetteville to drop them off so that someone could watch them while I was gone. Because I don't not trust anybody in the house.
Dude, someone stealing your guns is a big fucking deal.
It is a big deal. And anything that happens with those guns after they're stolen, whether you report them or not, is your responsibility. You can be sued.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not, like, people don't understand stuff like that. And actually, a guy that worked with me and Rob at Varsity, we were in the middle of a cheer camp, and we're about to start like our shit show, right? Like imagine at 11 p.m. We're about to start the shit show of like where we need all hands on deck. We're gonna be flipping people and doing whatever, and needing all the male hands we can get. And he's gone for like 30 minutes on the phone with somebody, and he comes back in all distressed, and he's like, "Man, somebody broke into my house and stole all my guns." He lost like 4 rifles, 2 shotguns. His handguns were all
God.
They had trigger locks on them.
Yeah, well, what is that? What is that? A drill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's where I was like, no, like the loop, like through the action. And I was like, I can't imagine. You know what I mean? Like that's how many crimes can be committed with all of those weapons
in an hour. From that, you know what I mean?
Not even an hour, because like they're gone.
Yeah.
That's how many.
You're not getting those back.
That can be spread across so far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your gun could be in fucking Arizona tomorrow.
I know people who have access to regularly, because like that, there's a market for that. And if you're around enough of anything, you're gonna have access to the shady part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether alcohol.
Yeah.
If you're in the bar industry long enough, you're gonna be able to know where you're gonna get free drinks, or like who doesn't card people, or who
or where you can import liquor from different states,
where you can bring your own alcohol into a bar even though you're not supposed to. Like, there's gonna be there's
always a dark side of everything, even like anything.
And so this guy, like, he lost, also not to mention the cost of all of that, like if I were to like
shotgun's probably $200 bare minimal.
There's people in my family who could sell all their guns and buy a house in cash. Like it's you know what I mean, like there's a lot, and those are extremes, right? That's not everybody has something like that, but even a car, like you sell all of my weapons, I think you could probably buy a small shitbox
or trade
for a small shitbox,
especially like, hey, this got no numbers on it, you know what I mean?
But even legally bought, like with numbers and everything, like if they have no serial or anything, then you're.
So Vermont's crazy about that, because up until like this last year, they had, you didn't have to have a paper trail on it. I could go buy a gun and sell it to you, and then it was just a gun. You know what North
I
Carolina.
think that's how it is with rifles and shotguns in North Carolina.
North Carolina, you have to get, if you don't have a concealed carry, you have to get a pistol purchase permit and all that good shit.
I always keep one in my bag in case I find a cool one, or if I'm here and you
Yeah.
have something cool and I'm like, well, I have cash on me. Like, I have a pistol permit in my backpack just in case, and I have 3 more at home.
If you feel crazy, my buddy's got a 38 special with the American flag on it. It's only been shot like once.
It's like a Ruger or like a revolver,
Might have been a Ruger.
like a revolver, like a
It was a
little pocket
revolver.
pistol.
I can find it online. It's a really cool gun. But it's a show gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's. Some of those are going to be your favorites, so once you get
Yeah,
them, it's just like
you never
a neat
shoot 'em.
find, and then you're just like, yeah, I love this thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't carry it.
I think the next one, the next gun I plan on buying is probably be like a home invasion shotgun.
Me too. Yeah.
It's practical. I have my 45, which is like if you're coming, you better bring the fucking ruckus.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then I have my concealed. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan, like a fan of everyone having guns. I know that's fucking, or at least be trained in how to use them and understanding what guns are.
I think if no one else bought a weapon or a firearm, we'd still have something like 2 per person in the U.S.
Yeah,
Something like some crazy.
it is very high, and those are the ones we know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because now there's like ghost guns are getting printed, and
Yeah, and 3D printers are getting crazy. But I think personally that I can fight 2 or 3 people and maybe not win, but probably not lose.
I'll put them up fight for 2 or 3.
You know what I mean? Depending on who they are and what they really want. Like if they're a crackhead, I could probably beat an army of them. Like you're like, haha, and throw their crack away.
You'd be surprised.
But like,
Guys are scary.
but like, you know that mob mentality is very fast, and all that shit with like during COVID and all that George Floyd shit and watching the riots. I mean, I know none of it was like aimed at me, you
Yeah.
know, per se.
Yeah,
but
emotionally charged emotionally charged anger charged action is always scary, regardless of
Yeah,
who it's
or
aimed
people
at.
fighting out of fear.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I was, you know, like, my parents were trying to get me to come here. I'm like, no, I'll just barricade my door. I was like, I have enough ammo. I was like, if I run out of ammo, it was bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, absolutely. People, my brother has like something like 1,000 rounds of each type of ammo that he carries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and his mindset is at some point, if, you know, everything bad were to happen, right, he won't be able to go to a store and buy,
yeah,
right? So he wants to have the store at home.
yeah. No, definitely, I definitely agree.
And I get it, but like, realistically, all you should have to keep on you is enough to get you to the next point, right? Like, it's enough to
Get home.
not
Get
even
away.
get home, get away,
Yeah.
get to a place where you can acquire more. It's like
Yeah.
it should be
No,
an
I definitely
acquisition
agree.
amount. Like, you shouldn't have to store
Yeah.
that much. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I carry a few boxes in the garage.
you like that one book I showed you? What was it?
He
He Fights with That's a pretty good book, right?
Yeah, I love it.
There's another one. It's good fucking fire
I'm
book.
gonna download the 4th book right now.
I just started the 7th.
You've gotten a big head start on me.
I don't want to give you
I was
any
one away.
spoilers.
I was one away, and then you just like kept going.
I'm gonna go reread through them because some of them I've just kind of lost touch. I
Yeah.
just listen to them because I'm so attached to it now. But there's another book out there. It's called The Minute After, and it came up in conversation with my parents like last week. But it's I've read it once. It's worth a read. It's like reading The Hatchet when you're in fucking you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like a very boring read, but it makes
Until you get into it.
yeah. Still, it's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it makes this point that if an EMP hit the United States and wiped out everything electronical, and it takes place in the mountains of North Carolina, and talks about the first couple days, nothing's going on, but like a couple weeks, everyone's dying in the hospital because there's no medicine, there's no ammo, there's no food. People are like forming gangs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, people think it's too much, but like those people that think it's too much don't understand that it's just like a flash.
It doesn't take much.
You know what I mean?
to
A flash.
put everybody on their ass.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When all that COVID shit happened, I fucking stacked up on these giant fucking cans of beans and shit, like non-perishable
my
shit.
garage right now, bro.
And it's just like if we gotta lock down, we gotta lock down.
Yeah.
And I'll protect my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have enough to self-sustain in my house. I have 2 roommates, not
Yeah.
including my girlfriend, and now my sister is staying with me. But for me, my girlfriend, and my dog, I have enough to sustain me for 2 weeks, which again,
Yeah.
it's not a long period.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks is enough for me to
Figure out a plan.
figure out a plan to get
Where
more.
would you go?
South.
South?
Yeah, more space.
Yeah.
And realistically, I have a lot of family in New York and like up north, Virginia, DC. But if I go farther south, I have family with land.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, I think, is what I'm lacking here,
Mm-hmm.
is the line of sight that you gain from living
Yeah.
on like a farm or living on a lot.
Yeah, well, you can see
however
it.
many
You gotta
acres.
it takes a while to walk up on you.
Or even being in
Where you live in a city, anyone could be anywhere.
exactly. Like I'm very familiar with a certain section of woodland and swamp area in Godwin Falcon,
Yeah.
which is where I used to go camping and shooting and hunting like as a
Yeah.
kid, and so I'm very familiar with that land. And we are no longer in contact or on good terms with the people who had the land that we would branch off from,
Mhm.
but I can still get there. I
Yeah.
can park my truck wherever, and I know that I could get around. There's deer, ducks,
Yeah.
geese.
Yeah, everything.
I think it's geese actually, not ducks around there, but there's enough that I think I would be able to live there and
Comfortably.
figure and have enough of a home field advantage over anybody trying to come and take my things.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think if I had to go somewhere, I think that's where I would end up probably. Or, EMP, you're talking about, you got to coordinate with your family and your, close people and make sure everybody's good. Like, that's where it's like, there might be one person that, or I know,
Yeah.
that, your family member knows that is like, oh, I have this much land. Like, if you have someone close to you, bring
Yeah.
them. Best case scenario, right? Like that's
What
and nobody
sucks
thinks
is like
about
all
that,
these
but-
people that are close to me now have like very bare minimal skills.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And
Like-
I just thought about that earlier today. Actually,
Like they have nothing. What are they bringing to the table?
yeah.
Like I've got
Who are we
agriculture
bringing
under my
out?
belt. For
Yeah.
like I got basic mechanic skills.
I have a really
if
cool
you have
book now.
Yeah. You have electricianal skill. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like things that people like in that bar that we work at. Think about like the average bartender knowing absolutely nothing about how to fix anything.
One of our bouncers said to me one time, he was like, "Oh yeah, if the apocalypse or something happened, I know who I'm calling, or I know who I'm going to try to be friends with." And I was like,
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know.
First off, like, I don't actually think I'm as much of an asset as I seem. I know how electricity works.
You're in decent shape. You're strong.
I can work,
You
I
can
can
work.
fight.
You know what I mean?
But there's people who work and fight better.
Yeah.
But I am a jack of all trades. I am generally prepared for just
Yeah.
things in general.
And you're level-headed on top of that.
I am level-headed.
You don't have a drinking or drug problem. You know what I mean? Like these are very strong traits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The only thing that's kicking my ass is I'm 30. You know what I mean? They're like, he's old. We'll eat him later.
Right behind you.
You got like 10 more minutes in you?
Me?
We're right.
I'm chilling.
You're
Yeah,
chilling?
I'm chilling. Matter of fact.
I think if I were to go anywhere, I'd go straight to the ocean. And I would go for a big diesel boat. Like 40 foot.
Steel one.
Yeah, dude.
At this point, no,
hold no
yeah,
bars.
yeah.
I'm going, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm either doing one or two things. I'm either going to make it 6 years or 6 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm either.
Boat's a big one though.
I'm going to the Chevy dealership and getting that new Corvette and flying around. But I think, I personally think that if you get a big boat and you go straight to all the first gas stations and load up all your jugs,
You can live on a fucking
you
boat.
can
Yeah.
fish, you
Yeah.
can cook. You know what I mean? The only thing that will
Fuel.
fuck with you is weather. You know what I mean?
Fuel
A big,
is
yeah,
a-
and fuel's
that's
a big thing
one.
too. Sailboats, arguably. I think the idea of having a big diesel boat is helpful. The cool thing about boats is you can stop on land, you can leave land. You know what I mean? I'm sure other people are gonna have
You're
the same
also
thoughts.
super visible to everybody.
Yeah,
around
but
you.
everyone else is also super visible to you,
Fact,
and
yeah.
that's where it comes in. Like, what do you have for guns? You know, at that point, you know what I mean?
And that's, yeah, I don't know why I've had phases in life where I think about this type of thing all
Yeah.
the time. Right?
Where would you go, right?
Not
And I
even
guess
that.
different kinds of apocalypses would be different kinds of things. Like zombie apocalypse versus like no electricity apocalypse. You know what I mean?
And either way, the ocean is a great escape, right?
Yeah.
But you have to, how far are we from the closest port? An hour and a half? About?
Two, yeah,
Newbern?
Wilmington's probably
Newbern is
Newbern,
closer.
yeah,
It's
the inland, yeah, the
Um,
lit.
But then that's also a higher population. And
Yeah.
at that point, by the time you get an hour and a half in, like, how much time did you take to pack your truck? How much time did you take to get home to pack your truck? How
Yeah.
much time did you take to alert whoever or wait for whoever before you took that hour and a half drive through however many people and however many stopped cars or people that are having the same thought as you packing the highways?
Yeah.
How long is it really going to take you?
Yeah, you're definitely not driving a car. You need something four-wheel drive.
You know what? Jacob actually pointed this out to me. Tacoma, electric Tacoma. They're making
Yeah.
an electric Tacoma.
Hummers are new too.
Electric Hummers.
Yeah.
So specifically Tacoma for the. I guess Hummers are nice though because it's all in
Wide.
caps and well, no, it's all enclosed.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the Tacoma idea, you've seen like the TRD Tacomas with the lift kits and the big tires. I would love that. An electric Tacoma. I'm an electrician. I can put, I can put.
But how familiar are you
solar
with
panels-
some shit with that though?
No, I know how to put solar panels on things and make solar panels feed batteries. That's pretty.
These are
simple.
different batteries though. These are like lithium ion is
They
what they
take
use.
positive and negative charges. That's
Yeah,
all
but
I'd
they
say.
don't take like.
And
Like-
it's a matter of reading the label and seeing how much they can take and how much your solar panels can put into like how much your solar panels are absorbing. And then
So arguably you
batteries
could charge
charge it
them, but like
during
what is
the
your
day.
charge time? You know what I mean?
sure.
You know what I mean?
And how
Does
far
it take
can
a
you push
charge?
it?
Yeah. How
Yeah.
far can you go and how long will you charge?
But at that point you're just stuck until daytime.
Yeah.
You're not stuck until you get to a charge station, you're stuck until
Mm-hmm.
daytime. So like think about an electric Tacoma, silent,
Yeah.
There's
No,
no
that,
motor.
yeah, that is pretty dope.
creeping through the fucking woods. Like he kind of painted a
Yeah,
picture
no,
in my
that
head, and I
makes
was like,
perfect sense.
That's what I want. Because Tacomas are smaller too.
Yeah.
The Hummer is not going to do too well in woods.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hit two trees that are too close for your, and then you're turn around, find
Yeah.
another route. Regardless of what trail you're on, you might not fit in a Hummer.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
So that's one thing that like that's actually on my list of when I make it or when I feel like I have the money to spend on something. That's definitely my next truck that I want.
There's I'll send you a link. There's this guy that puts a giant fucking electric motor in an old school Hummer, and like the torque he gets out of it, it's stupid. I don't know. I don't know if he's finished it yet, but he's like dropping this motor that's like this big.
That's not made for that chassis.
Yeah,
it's not made for that
tiny.
suspension.
And then he's like, "Oh yeah, and here's my batteries," and it's like 19 batteries.
Yeah.
Like,
But you can store extra batteries in the back of a Hummer.
yeah,
It's protected from the elements. You could probably do some because you've seen like the kits that people put in their trucks with like the tool compartments and like
Yeah.
the false bottoms that
and
open
then
up
the sides
it's
that
like
come off.
And so you could put batteries.
And at
down
this
there.
point, it doesn't even matter if it's pretty.
it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Like,
Just
all
like,
it has
oh,
to
I
be
need
is
storage.
safe.
Just take a fucking sawzall, cut your fucking side of your bed off.
Relatively safe and relatively neat, so you can continue to access the rest of your things and do maintenance.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters. It doesn't matter if it's like cosmetic or whatever. You're not showing this to your friends. But
Maybe
no.
we're underthinking this. Maybe what we should do is get a fucking electric RV.
Nah,
You don't think so?
mobility is lost.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't matter if you're already there.
Are you already there?
You're always already there.
Oh, you're saying no, but are you in a safe place that you can put yourself in an RV and feel comfortable that your surroundings are not going to betray you?
True, but
That's
like,
what I mean. It's like getting.
you
It's,
get out in the middle of Utah.
keep
know what I
in
mean?
mind, everything about my like preparedness mindset is about getting to. The
Yeah,
safe
where you
place.
are.
It's not about where I'm at. I know where I'm at. I'm in Raleigh. I have.
Well, depending
Durham,
on
I
what
have
kind
Lake
of-
Forest. I have all these cities around us. Like,
Do you know what C330 is? Oh, you're gonna fucking love this. Hang on, you're gonna love this shit. I think they're made by
You should get a projector, like Joe
like
Rogan.
back here.
Like Joe Rogan
look,
has.
look, I'm not. Because Joe Rogan. Fuck Joe Rogan. All the money in the. I
I'm not
just need to
saying
be
Joe
rich.
Rogan, if you ever see this, I'm a big fan.
I'm not that.
don't
It's
condone
not that I'm
this.
not a big fan. I'm a little jealous sometimes.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I saw your shit. I think it's C3. God damn it, 330. They're fucking awesome, dude. Look at these things.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, right. For the camera, because I'm not Joe Rogan.
So that top right, the one with the camper on the back,
And the little fucking this one.
yeah. So that's why I say like I wouldn't think I need an RV.
Yeah.
I feel like every like apocalypse movie has somebody with one of those that's just a badass.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just like
Or like a deuce and a half, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Well, they have like a lot of the military vehicles they use. So diesels were originally like made to run on peanut oil, and you can run them on fire grease. But they have fucking vehicles in the army that work on like compression and stuff instead of implosions, and you can literally piss in the gas tank and it will run off of that. You know what I mean?
like a hydraulic.
Yeah, like over and over and over again. Even steam engines, you know what I mean? Like the first trains, you know, they went that far in steam.
Yeah, they still have to create the heat somehow though.
Yeah,
And,
coal.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of wood. Even.
Yeah.
I mean shit. That's no. I've spent a lot of time recently. I've gone
Yeah.
through phases where I'm like hyper focused on or hyper fixated on survival or preparedness. Or there was one when I was maybe from like ages 9 to 13, where I was just in my room making pipe bombs out of CO2.
Yeah.
Not because I had any sort of malintent. I was a kid. I wasn't like trying to take anything to
Fuck
school.
that neighbor's mailbox.
Not even, dude. It was literally just like boredness, and like I thought it was cool. I thought fire was cool. I thought like it was cool
what kid
to be able
didn't
to
think
like,
fire was cool?
Exactly. And that's not, I don't think, alarming, or shouldn't be, but it's like, that has to go away at some point. You know what I mean? Like, if you get super down that rabbit hole, you end up like the guy who shoots up a movie theater. Or like blows up whatever.
I think people that lose their minds start shooting shit up like that, I think it was already lost to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I disagree with that one, because I think there's a lot, like, therapy and everything can go a long way, and I think there is an intervention, there's a point where intervention is still possible, and I think it's the fact that they didn't make it to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They pushed past that point. I think, like, had I become hyperfixated on, say, munitions, and decided that, like, oh, I'm just really focused on this, and then I also, to that, had the type of compounding mental illnesses that would make me recluse so badly that it's all I know, and everything anybody does around me is a trigger.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, okay, you know?
People lock themselves in their fucking a cabin up in the woods forever, and, you know?
I could see myself doing that, to be honest.
What was the guy from Christmas Vacation? He's like, what was the uncle? What was his uncle? He's like crazy. He's like banned from every state. I don't know.
The character or the actor?
The actor.
Oh, like the real person?
He actually went crazy.
Family Vacation.
He actually went crazy. He's like locked himself in like a room and shit. He's like, they're after me.
I mean,
I also...
That sort of paranoia, though, like, I kind of get it after... And honestly, I work at a bar.
Yeah.
You know,
You see the pack mentality, though, in the bar. Like,
I do, and I've worked at a bar where I watched... This is actually what the turning point was for me. This is where I realized, like, it's not safe out here, regardless of your intentions. This is also the reason I say crackheads are scary. Not because I'm scared of them, but because of their resilience. I was working, I think I might have told you this story. Jacob and I were actually working at this bar together, and there's this homeless guy came up with a bag of stuff he got at a gas station. He had a prepaid phone. I don't know where he got all his cash, but he had a prepaid phone. He probably robbed somebody. Like a bottle of wine, a bunch of like cans of Heineken, and a bunch of like now they sell Fireball at gas stations, so a bunch of Fireball shooters and whatever else was in his little bag, and he had a backpack, and then he also had like $80 in 20s just like in his hand. But he's drinking his own alcohol on the patio. Jacob's the one sitting outside, and I'm watching this guy through the windows, and I had someone come up to me and tell me like, hey, we work at the bar or the restaurant up the street. This guy was just like, we just had to call the cops on him. He threw a chair, like was just going off because, you know,
probably fucking High Park.
It was
fucking High Park,
and that's funny. That's funny as fuck. And
it's happened there more than once.
And so Jacob's just watching this guy drinking his alcohol on the patio, just talking to himself, and then he comes over, starts talking to customers, making them uncomfortable, and he's like, all right, let's go ahead and get this guy out. Weird area to be bouncing or to have a bar. It's a neighborhood, and half of the bar is outside, and not with no gates, no nothing.
Yeah, it's a parking lot.
It's just a parking lot. Yeah. And people are allowed to take their drinks out there, so it's really hard to police. People bring their own bottles of liquor sometimes and are drinking in the parking lot. It's hard to police that.
It's a bison.
And then if you tell them...
That's how it is.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to...
if you live in Raleigh, you know the bison, you know the goats. It's just, that's just the bars.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because they're not breaking any laws.
No, they are. They're having liquor on premises.
That person is, but the bar is not breaking any laws.
Yeah, we're not trying to. We're trying to stop that.
You can't bring this here.
Yeah, we can't do it.
It's not allowed in this bar, you know what I mean?
And so this guy, he's like bothering customers at this point. Jacob said, let's get this guy out of here. And so I'm like, all right. And I walk outside. He texts me. I walk outside, and he's right at the door. And I just opened the door, and I was like, hey, man, you can't have that here. You gotta go. And he was like, man, shut the fuck up. You know, I didn't even buy this here. Y'all don't even sell this. I was like, that's my point. Like, you can't have that on our property. He's like, and he's like fumbling around with his prepaid smartphone that he just bought, trying to find the flashlight so he could find the blunt that he dropped on the ground. And he's like, shut the fuck up and help me find this blunt. And I just look around and I kind of laugh. And when I look back at him, Jacob just picked the guy up, threw him on the ground. And and he's like, it's a hard impact. Because at that point, he's like, he's presenting a threat to us.
Problems.
Presenting a threat to us, threatening to shoot us, like, and Jacob just like is standing behind him. He didn't even know, and I just laughed, and I was like, he's about to get his work, like it's about to be bad for him. And so Jacob sneaks up behind him, and kind of did his scare tactic, picked him up, single leg, dropped him, and is standing over him. He's like, "You gonna go now?" And he's still talking. Like, it was a hard impact. I have heard a body hit the sidewalk that hard before, and that's the guy that fell off the.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacob starts rolling around with him,
Yeah.
trying to avoid hitting. Right.
Yeah.
So he's rolling around with him, gets the guy in an arm bar. I'm like, that's not effective for
Break
our
it.
goal. Like, that's
Break
not
it.
that's not what we're doing.
You see how I landed
And I'm just
it?
standing there, like, trying to figure out how to help, but he's literally like taking an arm bar and has him. He's talking to him, and I'm just like, your ego's involved. So I grab the guy's ankle, or it's like the jeans around his ankle, and I just start dragging him and Jacob
To the street.
dragging
Off
off the
property.
property. And Jacob like realized as soon as I started dragging them, he was like, "You're right," and then got up and helped me carry him.
Yeah.
Carried him out to the street, dropped him, and he started getting up trying to fight again.
Yeah.
So I have to get down on the ground, like, I'm on the street with this homeless guy, and it is getting cold. Shit.
Much. I'm
And
not
he's like, fighting back, right? Threatening to shoot us, whatever.
Yeah.
Jacob's carrying. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I like, I got mine right here. Where's yours? Like, really? And then so he's pissed off at this point. We finally, I created the distance and got Jacob back on the property, and we try to go back to just doing our job
Yeah.
as these security guards. And guy gets up, is screaming around, like, in the street, pacing the property, like he knows not to come back or we'll fuck him up. And then he like sneaks around the side, not sneaks, but just walks around the side talking shit. He's in the parking lot, and he picks up a chair and he's about to throw it at a car. Everybody at the bar stood up. All the men at the bar stood up, started walking towards him. He dropped the chair, started walking away, and he's like talking shit to everybody, all the customers. They beat the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
And he just tapes it.
No, he went down, he covered up, got the shit kicked out of him, and then got up, kept talking shit. Like nothing happened. And
You
then
gotta give it to him.
motorcycle gang comes driving down the street, and he's like in the street just waving his arms around, like trying to get in front of their bikes and shit. Actually manages to stop the last one, but then the rest of them hopped off their bikes right behind him and just snuck up on him and beat the shit out of him. Ran him across the street, beat the shit out of him. He got jumped. Watching people kick him in the street. I'm like, all right. I told the bartender, I was like, yeah, call the cops. Like, this guy's about to die in front of you. I know you don't want that attention. Like, let's go ahead and get the cops in here, like, involved, so they can at least get him to jail or whatever it needs to happen.
It's
before
wild.
he dies.
Yeah, like, it's wild because bars are the only industry that it's okay to walk in and attack somebody, get thrown out of the bar, and it's socially acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you did that at a
bank?
Starbucks?
Starbucks, yeah.
Could you imagine you go into Starbucks, you get all caffeined up, and you just start talking shit, and you start wailing on people?
You say acceptable. It's not.
It's not.
You can tell
it's not.
But you can tell
And
the story and people will laugh with you.
So you're telling the cops, and they're like, "Well, did you hurt him?" And it's like, "Are you fucking joking me?" Dude, we're working one fucking Sunday. This guy's like, Oz was working with me, and he's like, "I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna shoot all you up." I'm like, calling the phone with the cops. 45 minutes later, I'm like, yo, I was like, "Are you guys coming?" He's still threatening to shoot everyone in this building. We finally get him up. He fucking rolls his car up on the curb, one tire on the curb. He's sitting out there talking shit. Walks down the street. Cop fucking run through the door. Where is he? I'm like, thank God you're fucking here. Like, what would we do if you didn't show up?
First guy I ever kicked out of Tin Roof by myself was I guess I don't know if he was homeless, but it seemed he had a lot of baggage on his moped.
Yeah.
But he had his moped parked right out front in the illegal parking, and he insisted that he had a gun in his moped.
It's really scary when they say that because you don't know.
I don't know.
You don't.
And
then you have to treat the situation like they do.
But he doesn't have a gun on him. So I still have to just treat him like an unarmed customer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
Is there a difference in an armed customer?
Yes, if someone pulls out a gun.
They don't have legs.
Okay. They're probably just gonna
No, I'm just saying.
wheeled
like,
out.
It's just wild, you know what I mean?
My brother was just telling me a story about a guy in a wheelchair who I guess somebody was like talking to his sister or something, and he got pissed off and like rolled his wheelchair over and was like, "Why don't you hop in the back seat with me?" like, see if you're a man then. And then my brother walked up behind him and just like stepped on his lock on the back of one of his wheel, and he tried to like wheel off, but he was just spinning around. Like,
Well, I got piss. Hold on.
fair.
Oh.
Too real quick.
Alright. One piss and a forgotten Carhartt later.
Yeah. It was cold. It was so cold. I opened the door and I was like, one thing.
It's weird because the cold does something. Like, I was talking to you yesterday about taking cold showers, and I like cold. I don't really like cold showers, but I feel like it does a lot for me as a person.
It does.
It builds character.
Yeah, I like to think that.
It
I don't
definitely
know that it does,
fucking.
but I
Until
like
you
to
start
think
crying. I'll wash myself in like warm water, and then I'll just try to do like the last minute and a half of like freezing my balls off, and I'll just sit there and like. But after a while, it's not that cold, and I started to
You don't even
realize,
notice it.
like when I get off work and everyone, except for last night when it was fucking pouring down rain everywhere.
Yeah.
I started to realize that the cold doesn't really bother me like it used to.
I love cold
Like-
weather.
No, I'll take the sun.
I like them both.
I like riding like motorcycle weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like jacket and then cruise all day with sunshine hitting on you. I fucking love it. There's a lot to be said about fucking being cold though. Like the decisions you make when you're cold are a lot different when you're comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure. Today, when I was supposed to be leaving, I was leaving my house for like an hour. Like, from the time I got
I know.
It was like time to leave. It was like an hour passed by before I was actually on the road. And I've found myself to do that all the time now. Like, I get up, I'm like, okay, I have on my nightstand all the things that go in my pockets, right? Like,
Yeah.
my knife, lighter, phone, wallet, things, and then sometimes a duff. And now, or a buff. Was it duff or buff? Buff? The head buff. Like, head buff? Like,
Head buff?
yeah. Like the thing that we both wear on our
Oh
heads.
yeah. Very very handy.
Yeah, just a good
But-
thing that, like a handkerchief.
Yeah.
People used to carry handkerchiefs
Yeah.
around.
It's, dude.
I wrap my
so
hair
good.
up with it. I keep my ears warm with it. I wear as a mask.
Yeah.
COVID shit. Like,
Is the yeah. Yep.
I clean messes with it sometimes.
I think after I cut my hair, I'll probably still have them.
I'm now like it's a thing that I want and have around all. I have one in every bag that I have. I have one.
Dude, they're so fucking handy. They're a rag when you need them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Autumn just laughed at me the other day because I cleaned up. I spilled sweet tea or some sugary drink in the backseat cup holder in my mom's car, and she pointed and she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
Clean it up, put it back in my pocket. It was fine. I'm not gonna put it in my hair now.
Wait till you have you learned the thigh trick?
Thigh trick.
You put them up on your thigh. So you don't have any pockets in your gym in your lifting pants or whatever. You got like your wall on your phone, and you need your hands. Pull it up on your thigh and you stick everything in there. You just fold it up one
Neat.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
Good, right?
Yeah.
Super good. There you go.
Huh.
Also, anything that has a clip on it,
Yeah.
when you put it on your thigh, you can clip it on there too. You're welcome.
I always have a waistband.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Even like going to the beach, like I'm so at this point. So and that's kind of like after that moment is when I fell into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Of like, wow, shit could really go bad for me really fast. If
Yeah.
I piss off the right people.
When's the last time you need a fucking like tourniquet or something? You know what I mean? Your belt's always on you.
Oh, at the beach you don't wear a belt.
Yeah. Oh, you said
so-
waistband.
Yeah, like elastic waistband.
Oh.
All your pants
You're
are
right.
either.
Yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
My next question
But-
was, do you wear a belt with your swimsuit?
I actually do have a pair of swim trunks that have a belt loop on
Yeah,
them.
the hybrids.
Well, yeah, they're like khaki. They look
Yeah.
like khaki shorts, but they're actually
never
swim trunk
know.
material. I cut the netting out of them because I think who
I hate the netting.
I always
The
thought about
nettings. But I wear boxers with my swim
I
trunks.
always wear underwear. Like who's out here just free balling? That just sounds not safe.
Back on the naked thing though, I get wearing swim shorts in the ocean because like I'm not like hung like a fucking like lumberjack or anything like that. But it
But it's
really
something.
really sucked to get like for it to think it's a worm or something. You don't know what kind of fish have teeth. You know, like
I've definitely been naked in the ocean
Yeah.
a couple of times, but I understand that like you can't see for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially around here, you can't see in the water.
I sank my fucking kayak like 500 yards off the coast once. It was great. I had to get rescued by the Coast Guard. Did I not tell you this?
Oh,
Okay,
fuck.
here we go. Story time. I was drinking all day, which you do when you're at the beach.
Figures.
And I was like, fuck this, I want to go fucking kayak in the ocean, right? And I had my speaker and my pack of cigarettes, a couple beers. Waves are kind of chopping, whatever, it's fine. As long as I don't do anything, something stupid, you know what I mean? And I can't, there was a fish. There's like a school of fish fucking around in my kayak, and I leaned over to try to jab at him with my fucking paddle, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, ha ha ha.
Nature was like, ha ha ha.
This fish was pretty big, though. Like, you know, the water's probably like 40, 50 feet deep. I'm way out there. Like, when the people on the beach start looking like this, right?
Yeah.
And then a wave comes and flips me over. I'm like, no big deal. I'll flip my kayak over. And then another wave comes and it fucking sinks it. And it's just bobbing like this. I'm like, fuck, what do I need? It's like, cell phone, blah, blah, blah. Had my life jacket on. Like, tuck it out, call Carly. I was like, yeah, I just sunk my kayak. I'm swimming back to shore. I'm just like, I'll be back in like an hour. Just back paddling. Like, I'm going to be there eventually. But then you realize how fucking small you are. And like,
and the fact that the beach is
fucking far.
Probably
and
looking
paddles,
different at this point.
Oh, yeah. And her brother-in-law is like sitting out there fishing, like waving at me, like, I like, think I'm having a good time. And I'm like, it sucks. And like,
was it a rented kayak?
No, it's my kayak.
Okay.
It's actually a friend of mine's kayak that she's just left, and I've kind of claimed them, put stickers. Anyways, and I see this fucking jet ski, or this truck with a jet ski come up, and I'm like, beach patrol. I was like, it'd be really cool if they come get me. And then they back in their fucking jet ski, and I'm like, are they coming to get me? And this guy comes out, like Babe Watch, good-looking guy, fucking Oakley sunglasses, on the jet ski. He goes, need a lift, man? I was like, are you my Uber? Still drunk.
Did you actually say that?
Yes. Verbatim. First words that left my mouth. And he's like, you want to get your kayak? I was like, do I? And it's funny because I had the speaker. I could still hear the speaker drowning in the water. I must have lost it at some point. But like, I grab it, and he just takes off. And I'm pretty fucking strong, dude. But I'm not like...
Sounds like a...
I'm not like... hold her back of a jet ski, yank a kayak that's fully...
Captain America with a helicopter?
And all I have is like a fucking pack cord knot that I have, and I'm like grabbing it, it takes off, and goes, and like feel like it's ripping me apart.
Yeah.
So obviously I let go of the kayak, because I'm not letting go of the only thing that's gonna bring me to the water.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, hey man,
He's like, let go. He's like, come back.
I was like, I'll get it. You just gotta take off a little less harder. So he gets it, and it starts planing, and like, I can fucking cable curl some weight, buddy. But like, I'm like, every bit of me for 300 yards, like, you know what I mean? And I get the kayak up to the water, I get all the water, I'm like, thanks. And my girlfriend's downstage, I'm like, I just got rescued. Lost everything. My fucking, all my beer, there's some fish getting drunk, my speaker, my paddle, and then the next day, I'm like, God damn it, I can't believe I lost my fucking paddle. So I'm like, I'm gonna go look for it. I fucking find my paddle like 600 yards down the beach.
Oh, like on shore?
On shore.
Oh, shit.
And what else did I find? I found like half my shit.
Yeah.
And I all washed up on shore, and I was like, man, that's crazy.
That's actually really crazy.
Like, I found, the
probably
one
could've
thing I
waited
didn't
for the
find
kayak.
was my speaker. Loving girlfriend got me a new one for Christmas.
Was this recent?
Last summer.
Oh, shit.
Last
So you
summer.
just got... Oh, wow.
That was, she flipped one, and my girlfriend Carly flipped one coming in. You have to, like, so if you're riding the waves in, you have to get out and then, like, push it in, because if not, they'll nose you over.
Yeah.
And for some crazy reason, she didn't break any bones in her body, but her kayak went straight up, caught the sand, and just went, dumped on her. I'm like, she's dead. And, like, I'm, like, thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm going to explain to her dad that she did this to herself.
The ocean is mean, dude.
Yeah. I'm listening to a thing about the Essex. Are you familiar? The Moby Dick boat.
Okay.
I'll give it to you in a nutshell. They went out whaling. The whales sunk their boat. They all got in these rowboats, in short, and they fucking rowed out because their boat sunk, and they didn't want to stop on this one island, the closest island to them, because they heard there was homosexuals there, right? So they didn't want to stop there. So they fucking go out. They end up on another island. Anyways, they like, I don't want to stay here. We're frontiermen. We're gonna paddle back to England, where the fuck they're from. Anyways, they end up one kills himself. They all end up eating each other. Spoiler alert. For Moby Dick, in case you're all curious.
Yeah.
But
Homosexuality is one thing, but cannibalism, that's alright. Do what you gotta do, you know?
I'd be gay before I ate somebody. 100%.
When can we, like,
What country? Did we what?
create a scenario in your mind where you have to choose between cannibalism and homosexuality? That is not the premise of the book.
The Essex.
Okay, that is not the premise of the book. Name another situation where you have to choose between me and my friends are gonna have to eat each other or be around gay people. Like those are our two
Just
options.
be around gay people.
Yeah, that's all they were doing. Like the island was just.
It kind of sounds like Glenwood South.
Those are your choices. Yeah, have you ever?
Well, you don't see anyone going to Fayetteville Street, do you? So they all eat each other.
Is Fayetteville Street a gay street now? Is like I know Work is Cap
man.
City now.
So
Cap City is Work now.
Glenwood and Fayetteville used to be the two big strips.
I know.
Right? And Work is the only gay bar there. But they had where Boxcar and all that used to be like the office district or warehouse district.
Yeah.
And they had Flex and they had what's the other one, Legends.
Yeah.
And that was like where all the gay people hung out. And I've had a blast at both those bars multiple times. But ever since COVID, it's not popping like it's used to. Like,
Yeah.
and like it never
Old
came
people.
back.
It's an older crowd on Fayetteville Street.
Yeah, what I really think it is like now that we've all come back, all the prices of alcohol have gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has these bars they frequently used to visit that brought their friends. You know what I mean? People be like, let's go to the Big Easy. Big Easy used to be packed all the time.
So you're saying Glenwood is where it survived, or we all survived.
And it's not even really survive. It's just it's like killing your yard, you know, like all the grass, and now the weeds are growing back instead of the grass, and that's what Glenwood Avenue is.
My dad used to set the yard on fire.
Really?
Once a year. Yeah, he would go and spray, like sprinkle gas in certain areas, and just set the grass on fire and let it spread. And he would just like walk around with
Slash
a
and
water
burn.
hose. He would just walk around with a water hose, like making sure he didn't get too close to the house and the neighbors' yards, and would just burn the yard because he said it got rid of the mosquitoes. Even though mosquitoes, I think, like trees and standing water.
Standing water, definitely standing water.
And I think like I learned from a pest guy when I was an electrician at Michael and Son. I happened to be working outside at a house while the pest guy came, and I overheard him saying like, "Oh, for mosquitoes, you really got to pay attention to the trees." And I was like, "Oh, neat trick." But so I don't think my dad knew
Your
that.
dad starts burning the trees.
He literally every summer used to set the yard on fire and just watch it burn, like watch the whole yard burn. But it would never it would just grow back normal.
Grass is such a crazy thing. It does nothing for us as humans, and everyone grows. Yeah, well maybe, but like everyone has a yard.
Marginal amount.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what would be cooler than a yard?
Not everybody has a yard.
Okay.
In California, that's actually a big thing. Like, you're not supposed to have real grass because there's a drought. So, like, if you have an actual yard, like, with grass and not sod, like, it's gonna either die. That's why all the front yards you see in pictures are, like, yellowed.
Yeah.
Or you're wasting a lot of fucking water to keep your yard
water
alive. And it's frowned upon by your neighbors. This is my understanding of, like, California culture is...
wow, I didn't know
Rob
that.
could probably tell you more about that, but like, yeah, like they have a lot of sod out there in their front. If you see people with green yards, it's probably sod.
No shit.
Yeah.
I did not know that. We have fucking AstroTurf in front of our bar now.
I know. I saw the little
Nick and I were talking about
pissed about it. I love
drilling
watching
little
people.
holes and making a little putt course.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, like a hole saw just straight through the middle and just sand out there.
Did you hear my whole thing about the strip club?
Mm-mm.
You know where Rockford is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait, did it move?
Well, they're closed.
Oh, they're closed. Okay.
I think we should all buy it and make a fucking strip club.
I did overhear this. You know, when we're doing like moving furniture at the end of the night, I catch little snippets of conversations and then I have to go outside.
Think about the
and I
new.
miss the rest.
It'd be perfect after hours strip club right there on Glenwood. It would be packed. Make it like $150.
That would be actually a really good place for a strip club.
Like $150 entry fee. You know what I mean?
No, that's too much.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Okay.
It's the only place open, bud. Only place open.
To walk, yeah, that's
And
fair.
you know what would go in there? But $150 entry fee.
50. I think 50 is fair.
$150 entry fee.
Okay.
Everyone has $50. No one's dropping $150.
Okay, but you have to have money, and then you have to have strip club money. Like, you don't just pay a cover to get into a strip club. You pay for drinks. You pay for, you know, whatever else throwing money at.
Okay, $150 membership. Once a month.
Monthly. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, members only.
How many
private
times
club.
could you go? It's only open Friday, Saturday. / Sunday mornings. For brunch.
For brunch. I've actually, so I'm not a strip club guy. I don't like strip clubs.
I don't
They
either.
make me uncomfortable. I don't
They
know
make
what to
you
do with my
uncomfortable?
hands. Yeah, I'm just like.
What do you do with your hands?
No, literally.
Is that
I'm
what
just-
you do with your
I
hands?
can't actually watch and enjoy. Like, I don't know what's. I think it's because my mom and my sister were my main people that, like, the people I spent the most time around growing up. Because my dad always lived in Fayetteville, so
What
like,
if-
I had.
What if your girlfriend had stripper tendencies but didn't work in a strip club? Would you watch her strip? Or would that make you uncomfortable as well?
You mean like at home?
Yeah.
That's different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
But you couldn't touch her.
That's out of love. What? Why?
Strip club rules. Stripper tendencies. She has to dance on the kitchen
There's
table.
like a bouncer in the corner of my bedroom. Just like ready to beat my ass.
Can't touch her. You can watch. I was in Oregon, and Shane, the one that likes the strip club the most, there is the ugliest stripper I've ever seen come out. Maybe not ever seen, but it's Oregon. Like, I don't know what you expect. He was the one that was the least interested. It was like me, John. It was John, me, Tyler, Shane. So I'm a person down from this girl, or from this guy, and she fucking sees Shane. Shane's a good-looking guy, kind of. He's just, I don't know, everyone's favorite, class favorite guy. And she looks at him, and she's like, you, and he's like, not me. And John's throwing ones at her, and I was like, oh boy. And she like bends over, takes her feet, and hooks them behind his shoulders, and smashes her twat into his face.
I know the move.
And I have never seen that before. And my cousin's worked in strip club most of my life, and I fucking lost it. I was like, give me that. I was like, more. Like he was trying. There's nothing he could do. Her legs are stronger than his arms.
My buddy Shane is also the actually he was in Puerto Rico with me. He is also the strip club guy.
Yeah.
Like we went to New Orleans, and it was 3 guys, me and my 2 buddies. First night, like first bar we went to, made friends with 3 single females. We all clicked. We all had like assigned seats as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And his assigned seat wanted to go to the strip club. He loves it. I was like, wow, is this what the rest of the trip is going to be like? Just like us 6 hanging out? Like, this is weird, but alright, cool. And he gets fucking hammered. I don't know if he's a lightweight or what. He's from West Virginia. They drink moonshine all the time. Like, but whenever we go play, actually, he got abducted the first night we were in New Orleans.
Sweet.
Like, there's a song Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne where they talk about, like, they, like, will have a girl, like, seduce a guy into coming back and then they rob him.
Yes.
And that happened to him our first night. And I ran, you probably heard me tell the story, but I fucking ran 4 miles on foot chasing this fucking car because he stopped responding to his phone. And I had nothing to do. I was trying to go get our 3rd friend, and he was busy doing.
All I hear is you're a shitty friend and you've lost both your friends on this trip.
No, because
it was your fault.
The other friend was comfortable and not answering the phone. He was busy with doing whatever he was doing. Which, like, some girl. Like, he was...
off.
Yeah, he was doing his thing, and I had to babysit. And this girl came up to my buddy Shane and was like... talking to him, and I turned around and I saw him get stuck on the corner, and I was just like, I'm sorry, we gotta go. No, he's not interested. We don't have any money.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're just talking. And I was like, and I looked at him, and he's just hammered, barely opening his eyes. And she's like, I'm just trying to suck his dick. Is that okay? And I was just like, I looked at him, and he was just like,
if she has to,
I was like, you good,
I'll take one for the team.
I was like, you good, bro? He was like, yeah, I'll be all right. And I was like, all right, I'm nearby. And now I'm by myself, not knowing where either of my friends are exactly. And so I finally get my other friend on the phone. He stops what he was doing to answer, and I was like, hey, Shane just went with this girl. Said he was going to get some head. And he was like, oh yeah, just, stay close to him. I'm good. Don't worry about me. I'll catch up with you.
Oh.
And I was like, all right, cool. So I felt super creepy about this, but I stayed close to him. They walked away. I stayed, a certain distance away, but followed.
Yeah.
They get in a car. I'm like, all right, cool. They're sitting in this
Never go to the
car.
second location.
And then I just sat there on the corner, kept my distance from the car. I was like, I'm not trying to creep this girl out. Like, if this is really just how it is here, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm just standing here, just waiting and watching. And then the car drives off after a few minutes, and I was like, shit. I'm supposed to stay by him. I can't lose both of them. I don't even know where the penthouse is. Where they've got this nice ass penthouse. I was like, I don't even actually know the address.
Sweet.
I need somebody. And I know he doesn't know. He's hammered. And so I just followed the car. I just took off running. When they drove off, I just took off running. 4 miles sprinting after a car. And I stayed. And I stayed with the car. I was running through
a Grand Theft Auto mission shit.
Really though, actually, and then you don't have a car. There's no cars inside when it's the middle of the night.
Well, you could have had a car.
I could have.
Yeah. But no.
I had to be a law-abiding citizen.
You didn't want any stars.
So I'm hauling ass in dress boots and chinos and a button-up shirt after this car that has my buddy in it. When he may very well just be getting ahead, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I have to keep
Well, they might be
close.
taking his head.
Exactly. So I'm just
and
like,
his spleen.
I'm like, either way, I'm just gonna be nearby. He's not answering the phone. He's not answering texts. And then I lose the car, and I'm tracking his phone, or I'm tracking like the location. We all shared a location with each other and made a group chat titled "In Case Motherfuckers Get Tooken." Was the name of the group chat. And so I'm looking
you
at
foreshadowed this
literally,
shit.
I manifested it. And so I'm following this blue dot in the streets of New Orleans.
Just
and
like Grand Theft
we
Auto.
ended up fucking 20-something blocks north of where we started, and I found the car. They're parked. I'm like sneaking, like sort of out of breath. I just ran more than I've run in years. And I'm like, I see them both in the car, and I'm like, oh, all right, nothing to worry about. And then they take off again, and I lose them, and I'm like, fuck. And so I'm texting, and I'm like, yo, are you good? And he says, he responds via text, and it says, yeah, I'm fucking. And I was like, oh. I started walking slowly. I'm still walking in that direction, but I'm walking now, I'm not running. And then 30 seconds pass by, and I see Shane across the street from me, stumbling around, drunk as shit. There's nobody. We're in some neighborhood, like outside of New Orleans at this point, or outside of like the city. And I yell across the street, I'm like, Shane! And he was like, yeah? Or no, he said, Vince! And I was like, do you have your phone? And he started patting his pants and his jacket or whatever he had on him. He was like, I ain't got shit. I was like, you don't have your wallet? He was like, nope. I was like, anything? He's like, no, watch either. And I was like, and he's hammered. He doesn't even realize until I asked him, dude. Like, I'm like, okay, let's go get your shit. And I'm still tracking it. The phone's not off.
Yeah.
All right, let's go get your shit. So she's parked at a gas station, like another 3 blocks north. And I'm pissed off. I'm like, he's hammered. He's not going to be any help.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened? He was like, I don't know. She took me to some apartment. There's a bunch of dudes. And then she dropped me off. And I was like, okay, we're going to go get your shit. I'm going to go ahead and call the 911 and get them just prepared to come out. I don't know what we're going to walk into. I didn't actually know it was a gas station. I just saw the dot and knew there was businesses. And it ended up being a gas station. But we get next door at this like convenience store. And we're sitting out front. Lights are out. And I'm like, all right, just stay here.
In a city that you
in a city we don't know.
You don't even know.
In New Orleans, of all places. Like, and so I'm like, all right, hang out. Let's hang out here.
What could
cops
happen
are on
here?
their way.
You don't even know what side of town you're on.
Well, I was like, we're in the dark. We're hiding. Like, let's just hang out here. We'll be close by. We'll watch her. Make sure she doesn't leave. And if she does, we'll know what direction. And he's like, no, I know her. She's cool. And just like... starts like pushing past me to walk to the gas station. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, then I'll be by myself, and I'm gonna end up walking away. And so we get, to the gas station. I go wide behind her car, and he goes like across the front and walks up to her window. And I guess she was on her phone and looked up and saw him, and peeled off and left. And then the phone turned off.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I was like, you motherfucker. But it turns out. And I almost got in a fight with a crackhead that night too, because I had Shane sit on the curb, and I walked inside, and I was like, hey, do you guys have cameras? Because like this girl outside, yada yada, I was trying to get the license plate. I was like, the cops are on their way already, like.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we don't have cameras outside. I was like, that's bullshit, but okay. And I walked out, and Shane's sitting on the curb, and this crackhead's talking to him, asking him for money. And I was like, bro, promise you he doesn't have anything. Like, please just leave.
Literally nothing.
And then he gets in an attitude with me, and I was like, motherfucker, he just got robbed by one of your girls on Bourbon Street. Like, you need to fuck off. And I was about to fight this crackhead. I was just pissed. Paris still hasn't answered the phone. I called him 9 times. He didn't answer the phone. And then I'm just like, motherfucker. God damn it. Like, y'all are not leaving my sight for the rest of this trip. We're walking back because we were right by Bourbon Street. Like, we were right by all the shit. So we had to walk back the whole way that I just ran. My boots had a fucking hole in the side of them from running in them. They're not meant, it's like boots like these. Like, they're not meant for running. And then finally Paris calls back and he's like, hey, y'all good? I was like, no! Where have you been? He was like, sorry, I was busy. And apparently the girl was like, you're not gonna answer that? They keep calling. And he's like, nah, they're fine. Like, oh my god, that was the first night. We had a week. We spent a week there. Jesus. And the first night, he lost all his phone, his wallet, his Apple Watch.
God, they got him. They definitely got him.
And I guess, like, she kept, like, trying to undo his pants in the car.
Yeah.
And it was her, like, feeling his pockets to see where he was.
Yeah.
Or where his stuff was. So when they got to the apartment, she emptied his pockets, and the guys who were in there took his shit out of the apartment and left. And then he didn't even notice, so he just like got back in her car, drove back, and she just dumped him somewhere. But
You get laid?
no, probably not.
Oh.
Like, yeah, no, I'm assuming not. I doubt. Well, at that
Jesus.
point, what is she doing it for? Like, like I doubt she needs
An Apple Watch.
Yeah, some drunk white boy from West Virginia to please her. Like,
Oh.
she has.
How does he feel about this whole situation?
It's
Defeated.
a funny story now, and it was funny the next morning. It was a year ago yesterday. I just got my Snap. I had recordings of him talking to his mom on the phone about telling her what happened the night before.
Oh.
And he was like trying to get her to mail him something. Like, I think because the phone company wouldn't mail us an iPhone in his name
Yeah.
because he didn't have his ID or his card or anything. So they mailed it to his house that was on file, and she had to mail it to us. So he was trying to organize all that, and I'm sitting here recording the conversation on Snapchat. And it was funny. We were all laughing about it. He was laughing about it the next day, but it was still...
You have to.
Like, that could have been really bad.
Look,
You know what
I gotta-
mean? Like, if he wasn't as drunk and tried to put up a fight, or was the type of person to put up a fight...
Yeah,
like, that
they
could have
probably
been
beat
much
his
worse.
ass.
She could have shot him in the car.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been just ended so much faster.
Yeah.
And that's, like...
You gotta carry a
around-
fake wallet. And a
Yeah.
Fitbit.
Well, I mean, so this is around the
And a burner.
Honestly, I keep cash in multiple places. I keep cash in my wallet, but also I keep cash like in my truck in a different pocket, like in my.
I only keep like
sock or-
$20 on me.
I am of a different.
And one
belief
credit
system.
card.
I have multiple cards because I do the money roulette a lot.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, I have money in here and I have money in here, but I need like the amount of both, so I gotta
Yeah.
move shit all over the place. I get paid for electrical work in one account.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
get paid from Tenry from one
Yeah,
account.
yeah.
And then I have cash, and there's like I gotta play that game.
Look, I got a group of guys I ride motorcycles with, and they all, no, just a group. There's a couple of them in the military. One of them works in an oil field. One of them used to work at Harley. We all just kind of fucking way different backgrounds all got together.
Yeah.
And we all used to ride together, and
That's the best.
they love girls, and I'm like indifferent. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
you have a girlfriend too at this point.
no, before we met,
Oh.
but like they're just like, let's go get laid. I'm just like, yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? And like, but I'm more like, let's go have a couple beers, ride around. You know what I mean?
Hang out.
Let's do some fucking eat some chicken wings, talk shit. You know what I mean? But like, they're always like trying to pick up girls at the bar, which is all like. Honestly, maybe I go to watch them trying to pick up girls at the bar because it's very entertaining.
It is entertaining.
Anyways, they went to Bike Week one year, and I got stuck here, and I saw their snaps. They looked like having a good time. My girlfriend and I are fucking sitting at this fucking Thai food place, right, sitting outside, and they walk by, and one of them's wearing sunglasses, kind of cloudy. He goes, "Man, you missed a good time." He's like, "Look, I got chlamydia in my eye." And I go, "What the fuck happened?" He's like, "I snorted cocaine out of this stripper's ass."
I was gonna say it's that move, with the
Right?
feet.
And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, look." And my girlfriend has not met these guys. First time she's met him. And he goes, "Look, I have a video, and it's him doing blow out of her butthole." And I'm like looking at my girlfriend. I'm like,
Out of her butthole.
out of her butthole. Like they used it like a little cup. Like, and I'm just like, wow, guys. I'm like, so much for going to Myrtle Beach. Nice to be here with y'all.
Yeah, right. That's
Oh.
how I feel about this past Puerto Rico trip. It was supposed to be when we scheduled it a guy's trip. Right?
Yeah.
It was like a boys trip. That was gonna
Yeah.
be our vibes.
Well, I picked the two calmest ones, and we went down with them, and we had a good time, and
Yeah.
like they had a good time for the most part. But like, I like to ride, I like to drink. You know what I mean? There's just a certain point where like you have to like,
Chill.
you know what I mean? Like you can't get hammered at the bar and then drive all the way across town on your motorcycle. You know what I mean?
And if
Oh.
you can, you just run the risk of a lot of bad shit.
Yeah, we saw some fucking gnarly
Rob.
wrecks. Rob.
And just fucking last week.
Oh,
That was the night before I left too.
was it really?
Yeah, I was literally like, I didn't sleep for days because I was working, and then got a call at 3 in the morning or whatever
Yeah.
time saying like, hey, this is going on. You're the only person, like, because Rob, he's my person. Like, I brought him into the mix,
Yeah.
and I know his family, and like, they were like, we need you to take care of this because everybody
Yeah.
else was drunk. And I was like, I stayed home tonight to avoid all the bullshit.
Yeah,
and
it
now
was a
I'm
Sunday
responsible
night.
for all this shit.
Oh
now.
my
Like,
god. Everyone gets one with me. Everyone gets one. Like, save me. And I'll come. But you don't get very many. You know what I mean?
I am.
I'll bail you out of jail. I'll come pick you up in the middle of nowhere. But it's a one-time deal. You know what I mean? I'll fly you back from wherever the fuck you are. You get one. You get one good one, so you better pick it. You know what I mean? And like, if I can't afford it, I'll figure out a group of people that can. But like, the first one is kind of like, oh, that was stupid. The second one, you're just dumb. Like, you know. All right, I guess we probably should end it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't drink and drive.
Or be ready for the consequences.
Oh yeah. Oh.